leg?
She was, Your Honor.
And she'll pay when pigs fly.
I watched with my own eyes as your pig attacked her dog.
She didn't go to the vet right away. She told me that the dog was fine.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Deborah Capra is suing her neighbor, Lisa Fernald, for vet bills and punitive damages after Lisa's pot-bellied pig bit her Great Dane.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 159 on the calendar, the matter of Capra versus Fernald.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Capra, do you and the defendant live in a rural area?
We do, Your Honor, but she lives 2 streets behind me, and the properties are about 2 acres apart. I have a map to show.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Are either of your properties fenced?
I have an invisible fence around my property for my dogs. I also have a stone wall around my property, except for a very small opening at the very end of my property. There is an opening in the wall.
Okay, so you have an invisible fencing around your property.
My yard is fenced in.
What kind of fencing?
I have stockade, and then I have a chain link fence.
Okay. This is the problem. You have a pig.
Right.
Pot-bellied pig. How much does it weigh?
She's approximately 200 pounds.
Not what we think of, or what a non-pot-bellied pig person thinks of as a pot-bellied pig. You usually think of them as something small.
Right.
This one wasn't supposed to be small when you got it?
Yes, she was. Yes.
She was supposed to be small and surprised you.
Yes.
Is this the only pig that you have?
Yes, it is.
And is she inside your house?
Yes, she is.
And inside your yard?
Yes.
But she got out of your yard?
Yes.
At least once. And, according to you, came onto your property and bit one of your dogs?
Correct.
When was that?
This was February 20th. Your Honor, this isn't the first time the pig has been on the property.
I read from your complaint that it had been on the property a year before.
About 6 months prior to that, yes.
Without incident?
Without incident.
Well, first, can you explain to me, Miss Fernald, how a 200-pound pig could get off of your property if it's fenced?
We did have a tree go down. There was a snowstorm, and we had a tree go down. So
when? On what date?
I don't know the date of when
Well,
it
give me the
snowed.
month.
Approximately the end of January, beginning of February.
Okay, this incident happened on February 20th.
Correct.
Tell me what happened.
2 of my dogs were out.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 4 Great. 3 years ago, I used to breed, and this...
Don't give me a whole story.
Okay.
You had 4 Great Danes.
4 Great Danes. 2 of them were outside. I saw them run to the back of the property. I ran outside to see what was going on, and I saw the pig.
On your property?
On my property. The Great Dane that's not mine, I was looking for a home for, I brought into the house first because I wasn't sure how she was going to react with the pig. Obi is a very laid-back dog. I knew she would be fine. I grabbed the other dog, brought the dog into the house. I came out, and I wanted to take a picture of the pig with the dog because the last time it was on the property, my husband says, "Are you sure a pig was on our property?" So I went to take a picture of the pig. By accident, I hit a video, and it was recording. And during that recording, the pig attacked my dog.
I assume then you have the video.
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it. The dog was bitten in the leg?
She was, Your Honor.
You have the vet bill?
I have vet bills. I have photographs of her
I'd like
wounds.
to see it.
These are all my vet bills.
Dog okay?
She's okay now. It was touch and go for a while. She was very close to needing surgery. I show her. She needs 1 major to be a champion. She comes from a line of champions. And it came very close to her needing surgery, which would have been thousands of dollars.
Well, she didn't need surgery.
Right.
So tell me, what were the total of your vet bills?
The vet bills I had totaled up were $626. That was just for my vet. I didn't charge her for any of the bandages or anything.
I just want to know what the vet bills were.
the vet bills were-
$626.
yes.
Now, When this happened, Ms. Fernald, I assume that the plaintiff came and told you that your animal was on her property and had injured her dog.
No, actually, the Wareham Police Department came to my home and got me.
And said to go get your pig off her
Yep,
property?
I followed them over to her home. I went to her home. At that time, she had her dog in the house. I asked her if her dog was okay. I've never had an incident with my pigs domesticated with other animals and everything. She also stated that to my daughter that was there and to the dog officer, the
Don't tell me what you said to anybody else. Adam, that's hearsay.
Okay.
The dog was injured that day by your pig. I just saw that.
Okay.
Okay? I just saw that.
All right. Well, I have an affidavit from my daughter, too.
I don't care about an affidavit from your daughter. I watched with my own eyes as your pig attacked her dog. I saw the pig and I saw the leg. If you look at the video, you can see that. So my question is, did there come a time when the plaintiff presented you with the vet bill?
Actually, Animal Control gave me the original first bill.
Okay, so Animal Control came by. And did you ever, by the way, receive a ticket or anything else for having your pet on someone else's property?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Then is there any reason, just curious, is there any reason you have a ridiculous counterclaim for legal fees? What legal fees did you have to absorb?
I actually tried numerous times. I sent a certified letter.
For what?
To get documentation on what it is the dog was being treated for the medical bills, because she had told me that there was nothing wrong with the animal. I offered to pay the first bill. She refused to take the money from me. I apologize. And she said that she didn't want this to mean that I didn't have to pay her anything else. So I've tried to get...
You're talking about the first bill that came in right after February as a result of the injury to the dog.
I asked her to forward me that information as well as the doctor's
So now
records.
you understand that you are totally responsible for the vet bills and the other expenses, including bandages and anything else that she had to...
I don't feel as though I am.
Okay, well, if you offered to pay the first vet bill, which occurred immediately after the incident, so now we know that you do feel responsible because you do understand that your pig injured her dog. Why do you feel as if you're not responsible for any subsequent vet bills a week later, 10 days later, for follow-up care, for follow-up visits? I don't understand that.
First off, she didn't go to the vet right away. She told me that the dog was fine. She went to the vet 2 days later. All I asked her was for documentation from the vet on what she's been treated. She charged me on some of the bills for like a flea and tick collar. Why would I be paying $70 for a flea and tick collar? How does that have to do with anything with the dog being injured?
Great.
Your Honor, that wasn't included in.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. Your counterclaim is ridiculous. It asks for attorney's fees, etc.
Well, I do have Animal Control here that did witness it, went out and witnessed
Animal
it.
Control did not witness what I just did. You just witness that video? Who's the Animal Control officer? Are you the Animal Control? Did you witness the video before today?
Yes, ma'am. There was an actual bite.
You don't have to be 100% sure. You have to be here in a preponderance of the evidence. I saw the pig. The pig was on her property. It had been on her property before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's a no-no, right? She fences in her stand up. She fences in her property because she has dogs. She has an electric fence. Her dogs have collars. What you're supposed to do, if a tree is down in January and you have a 200-pound pet on your property, you fix the fence before February 20th. Doesn't that sound logical to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. We're done here. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She stood there and videotaped it instead of removing her animal.
I actually had to call the police and call a neighbor to try to help get it off my property.
Walk the animal back.
I did try to do that. And I wasn't getting anywhere with that.
The woman set up a GoFundMe in the amount of $606.
I have no idea. I have no idea what she's talking about.
So she's scamming people.
She's just been very combative.
That's just the type of person she is.
She just felt as though she just wasn't responsible for this, and she was.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mills versus Parker. Step forward.
Tyreen Mills is suing his former roommate, Jackie Parker, for the return of rent and property.
Mr. Mills, you rented a room from Mr. Parker.
Yes.
How big was the apartment?
It was a 2-bedroom apartment.
How long had you lived there, sir?
Almost 7 months.
Did you have a roommate when you first moved in?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever have a roommate?
No, ma'am.
So Mr. Mills was your first roommate?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you move in, Mr. Mills?
I moved in. I gave him money on the 26th of June.
How much money did you give him?
I gave him $700. It was $500 for the rent, $200 for the deposit. The 26th, I gave him that.
26, he gave him money.
Yes.
You don't deny he gave you that money.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you move in?
The 26th, I gave him the money. He gave me the keys. The 26th, later that day, the 27th, I moved my things in.
Now, the lawsuit wants the return of all the money that you gave him.
Yes.
And the value of certain property that you said Mr. Parker took from you.
Yes.
And the fact that he illegally evicted you.
Yes.
Mr. Parker said he doesn't specifically address the illegal eviction, even though he changed the locks shortly after you moved in. He said that you were kind of messy. Whatever.
I'm sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You changed the locks on him, thereby constructively evicting him, even though he had paid his rent. I asked you why, and you said safety reasons.
He became pretty aggressive after the second day that he moved in, which was on a Tuesday.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tyreen Mills says former roommate Jackie Parker locked him out of their apartment. He is suing for the return of rent and property. Jackie is countersuing for loss of property, threats, and assault.
Now, on what dates did you change the locks?
July 1st.
Now, the rent that he paid you, the $700, that was for July.
Correct. At the end of June, July. Yes, ma'am.
It was for July.
Yes,
he
ma'am.
moved in on the 27th, so it was for July. Now, on what basis, sir, did you change the locks, thereby constructively evicting him from the premises?
It was because of a safety reason.
Let me hear.
As soon as he moved in, actually it was the 24th when I met with him, and then he brought the money over on the 26th, which I gave him the rent. It was getting pretty late, and I play sports on the weekend, so I told him, well, we can meet on, I bring the lease agreement.
Just give me...
Okay.
You changed the locks on him, thereby constructively evicting him, even though he had paid his rent. I asked you why.
Okay.
And you said safety reasons.
Yes, ma'am.
He
became pretty aggressive after the second day that he moved in, which was on a Tuesday.
How aggressive?
I was trying to get the lease agreement signed with him, and then I'm a nurse and I work pretty late, so I was kind of tired. I said, well, let's just do it. Tuesday when I got home, he said, you got me coming home early just to meet you, and I said, and I was trying to be sympathetic and apologize, and he just kept going on. It was
just a minute. You mean you told him to come home to sign the lease?
No, when he gets home from work. I didn't know he took off from work early.
We're missing a beat here, Mr. Parker.
Okay.
You wanted him to sign a lease.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make a time with him?
No,
Did you make a time? Did he make a time with you?
Didn't.
No, he did not. Okay, so what time did you get home?
I think I got home around 7:30, because I skipped my class. I came about 7:30, I think it was.
In the evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And this was on the 20...
Yes, that Monday.
I don't know. So you have to give me the date.
Yes.
What date?
It was the 28th. I have
28th.
I have it on the lease that we signed. It says the date that we signed it. It was
28th. Okay, so it was the day after he moved in.
Okay.
On the 28th. So go ahead.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. It was just, then he just began to be very aggressive. And then after we signed the lease, we talked about the rules of the house. I told him no smoking, no loud music. And if you have company to come over, please be at a respectable hour, because I get up early in the morning.
Is all of that in the lease?
No, we actually verbally talked about that.
You can't, listen to me carefully. You can't have him sign the lease and then tell him what the rules are.
Oh, no, it was before. It was before.
Oh, that's not what... Just a second. That's not what you said. Put your hand down.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You wanted him out. You said, you're smoking in my house. It's not working out. I'm a non-smoker, and I'm going to change the locks. And he says, I don't care what you do. Just have my money.
And these are the photographs where I woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning where he was smoking. My house was on fire.
Mr. Mills, what were you smoking?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tyreen Mills says former roommate Jackie Parker locked him out of their apartment. He is suing for the return of rent and property. Jackie is countersuing for loss of property, threats, and assault.
Now, even if it's before, if it's not contained in the lease, it's not part of the agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
No smoking, no loud music, no cooking in the kitchen, big meals, because I see that that was an issue. Anything that's not contained in the four corners of your written contract doesn't exist.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as your relationship with him goes as landlord and tenant. Now, I want you to tell me what he did that inspired you to change the locks.
Well, that following Wednesday, I was in the kitchen, getting ready to clean the kitchen, wash dishes. He became very aggressive toward me, started walking toward me.
Aggressive is a conclusion.
Yes, ma'am.
You tell me exactly what he did.
He started cursing me out, and then because And so after we had signed the lease, seemed like everything just did a 180. And his behavior toward me and like slamming the doors. And I smelled smoke in the house. And I asked him, I said, are you smoking in my house? He said, no. And I said, okay. Then I told him to lock the doors. I came home 2 nights in a row. My doors was unlocked. And he was nowhere to be found, so I knocked on the door. Then when I knocked on his door, I said, please, Tyreen, lock my doors. And then he started yelling at me. So I turned around, I walked away. I went in my room and locked the door. And so then after that, then on Thursday, everything he just started coming at me and just like verbally attacking me. And then I had to call the police.
You have to return all of his money to Mr. Parker. $700.
Okay.
Okay, you should have returned it before. Should have returned all his money before. He was supposed to be there the month of July. You locked him out July 1st. He had locks changed back. Now you had a locks...
I'm sorry.
You had a locksmith come in and change the locks back? You never did?
No.
Okay, so when he locked you out, you stayed out?
I stayed out. I'm homeless right now.
Just a second. When he changed the locks, you did not change them back?
No.
Okay. Do you have any proof that he changed the locks back?
Yes, I paid for 2 locksmiths to come out. On Friday, then when I got home, I saw the locks. I have a countersuit against him.
I see.
Because he broke into my home. He's took both TVs out of both rooms, my air conditioner, everything.
Just a second. I know you have a countersuit.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say that he broke into your house.
I have the police report. My locks, both locks on my screen door was unlocked.
All I want to know is what proof you have that he did that.
I live alone. He's the only one in my home with keys to my home. He came in. He had my neighbor's son when he pulled in there because she knew he was there.
No, just listen to me. Your neighbor's not here. You can't tell me what your neighbor said to you. I'll look at the police report.
Yes, ma'am. Then he took everything. I have the
He didn't take anything yet until you have a witness that says that he took anything out of your house. You changed the locks. That's all that you know. And then at some point you came home and you found your house broken into.
Yes, ma'am.
And property missing.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I have text messages also where I asked him to bring it back, and he was telling me to keep returning his money.
Just a second.
For all the damages.
Just a second.
Okay.
Okay, now I'll take a look at your text messages because this tells me nothing.
And also, I have photographs. Oh, sorry.
Give me photographs. I don't need photographs. First, I have to find culpability.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, from you. You wanted him out. You said, you're smoking in my house. It's not working out. I'm a non-smoker. You're playing in loud noise, everything else. It's not working out, and I'm going to change the locks. And he says, I don't care what you do, just have my money, my $700 that he paid you.
And these are the photographs where I woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning where he was smoking. My house was on fire.
Can I see the photographs of the...
And this is what woke me up at 2 a.m. in the morning.
I don't care if it was 2 a.m. That's what happens when you have a roommate. Don't have a roommate. Live alone. You've been living alone for 7 months. Stay that way. Now, Mr. Mills.
Yes.
What were you smoking?
I was not smoking in his house. When I moved into that room, he had candles burning, Glad candles, circle candles. They was on top of the wooden dresser.
You were not smoking?
No.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I moved in 28th. I gave him my money.
He became very aggressive, and he was very homophobic. And
30th, he changed the locks. He told me he put my clothes and things on the balcony.
And I just wanted him out of my house, and so it became a safety issue. He's trying to fight me, and
when I went to go receive my clothes and things, they were not there.
I just told him to leave, and then he took all my stuff, robbed my house.
I'm homeless right now.
The police.
I know to do a thorough background check before I just move in with somebody.
Best thing to do is to live by yourself.
Because I don't know what this guy's problem is.
Did he come to the house when you were there?
I was in Pennsylvania.
Absentee homeowners try to get a handle on their handyman.
How much did you pay him altogether?
$2,300.
You may not like the $2,300 worth of work.
But what they found left them floored.
When I discovered it was not finished, and I asked Clay why it was not, and he said when I got up on the ladder, I got scared because it was too high, and I could not finish the job.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Mary and Edward Boyer are suing handyman Jamison Clay Johnston for incomplete and substandard work on their home.
Order. All rise. This is case number 170 on the calendar, the matter of Boyer versus Johnston.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Mr. and Mrs. Boyer, you hired Mr. Johnston to do some work in a house that belongs to you in Arkansas. Substandard job, and did some work that he shouldn't have done, which you were caused to repair at some cost to yourselves. Mr. Johnston actually has a countersuit. He said he did more work than originally contracted for, and you actually owe him money. I gather from reading the complaint, Mr. and Mrs. Boyer, that you moved from Arkansas to Pennsylvania. When was that?
We moved to Pennsylvania in April of 2015.
And when did you move back to Arkansas from Pennsylvania?
We moved approximately May 1st of 2016 back.
And your house has been for sale since what month and year?
We had it for sale by owner, which a friend of mine was doing first, and then we listed it.
Just a second. What month and year did you have it listed?
We listed it
by owner.
Oh, when we left the state of Arkansas in April of 2015.
Prior to that, had it ever been for sale?
No, ma'am.
So you subsequently, when you left, listed it with a broker?
No, ma'am. It was for sale by owner in the beginning, and then when it did not sell, we contacted Laura Dreyer here. She's our realtor, and then she listed the house approximately February of 2016.
Did it sell?
No, ma'am.
Are you currently living in it?
Yes, ma'am.
So you moved back to Arkansas?
Yes, ma'am.
And you moved back into the house?
Yes.
Yes.
And you remain in the house?
No, ma'am. It's still for sale.
And still hasn't sold?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you yourselves hire Mr. Johnson, or was that the realtor?
No, ma'am. It was me.
It was you?
Yes.
When did you hire him?
I hired him. The first contact with Clay was March 9th of 2016.
Did he come to the house when you were there?
I was in Pennsylvania.
I thought you moved in April.
To Pennsylvania. We didn't come back until about May of 2016.
So what was your contact with Mr. Johnson in March?
My previous boss, Bill, owns a lot of rental houses, and he has contracted with Clay to do his work, and he's a very trusted friend of mine, and so I trusted his judgment. When I asked him if Clay would do work for us, he suggested him.
Fine. So we came with a recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a written contract with him?
I had it over text, ma'am. He sent me a list of everything.
So the answer is you didn't have a written contract?
On paper, no, ma'am.
Do you have the text messages that form the basis of your oral understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Okay, here's the initial list of things that he said he was going to do for us, and then the estimate down at the bottom was $1,200.
Okay, tear off the wallpaper in the kitchen, study, and dining room.
Yes, ma'am.
Did he tear off the wallpaper in the kitchen, study, and dining room?
No, ma'am. There was no wallpaper in the dining room. We had a designer...
Just a second. This is what he says.
I know.
Tear off wallpaper in the kitchen, study, and dining room.
Yes, ma'am. If you look further down, I told him that there was no wallpaper in the dining room.
Fine, so don't take the wallpaper off the dining room, because there's no wallpaper there. Fix garage door. Did you do that?
No, ma'am, I didn't. It was on the estimate, and there was a latch broke on it, and I didn't get to it by the time they moved back.
Just a second. So did not fix the garage door. Make a drawer front for the cabinet on back of the kitchen bar. Did you do that?
No, ma'am, I removed the... Oh, sorry.
The answer is no.
No, ma'am.
And paint it. So I assume if you didn't do it, you didn't paint it. Touching up any trim downstairs, which includes putting in and painting trim. Did you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you clean up the backyard and repaint the front porch swings?
Cleaned up the backyard, the front porch swings, no, they were taken down.
No swings. Okay. Could you stand up, please?
Yes.
Tell me your last name.
Dreyer.
Miss Dreyer, you're the realtor?
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume you were showing the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you show the house?
Well, other agents did, and that was the problem. It was just too overwhelming for buyers with all the chaos in there and the half painting and everything going on. They said it looked like
there was chaos before, because it didn't sell before either.
Right, and I'm the one that suggested that they get it redone.
Spruced up a little bit.
Spruced up, yes, ma'am.
Spruced up a little bit. Well, did you ever go into the house to see how it was getting spruced up?
Absolutely.
In what month?
When he started on it.
What about
in May.
What about after he started on it?
Of course, yes.
Of course. What did it look like?
Just wasn't finished, you know, half painting jobs, you know. He kept saying, well, I'm finishing up today, I'm finishing up tomorrow, and I'll have it all spotless.
So nobody was there. How much did you pay him altogether?
$2,300, Your Honor.
And what did you do for $2,300?
$500 of that was the initial part for the materials of it, and then paying the employees that I had working for me.
Just a second. What work did you do in the house?
Sorry, ma'am. I did the...
Slowly. Tell me exactly what work you did in the house for the $2,300.
Tore off wallpaper in the kitchen and in the study.
Tore off the
Primed
wallpaper.
walls.
Yes,
ma'am. Had to resheet rock walls to do patch-up jobs on certain areas so that I could primer and repaint. The trim...
Just a second.
Dining
Painting.
room. Yes, ma'am.
Painting. So those rooms are finished. The
Yes,
dining
ma'am, and
room?
I have pictures of those.
I'd like to take a look at them. Dining room is finished, and the
Yes, ma'am.
library, did you say?
The study or bedroom.
Okay. The kitchen, what did you do to the kitchen?
Tore off wallpaper and painted the walls.
And you painted the walls?
Yes, ma'am.
Finished the kitchen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And this is a bedroom?
That is the study, yes, ma'am.
Study. And you painted this blue?
It's like a silk gray.
Well,
yes,
what is
ma'am.
this?
That is tape, taping off the trim.
Did you ever take the tape off?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the banister and these walls?
Yes, I painted those walls as well. Yes,
These walls go upstairs. You
yes,
painted
ma'am.
them.
Painted the room upstairs as well.
So how many rooms in total did you paint? You painted all this blue.
Yes, ma'am.
Any question about that?
The only thing that I did not get to in the front part was the top edge, the very top edge, because I could not safely get up there, and by the time I acquired a ladder, they were already moved in, and it was hard to move around.
Is the paint there?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, on the one he was saying that he did not acquire a ladder, he sent me a picture of it that went 3/4 up the wall and told me it was finished. And when I asked Clay why it was not, and he said when I got up on the ladder, I got scared because it was too high and I could not finish the job. I have
Okay,
pictures.
fine. So far, I'm seeing a whole lot of painting there. Did you buy the mulch, by the way?
She purchased the mulch through the materials, yes, ma'am.
And what did you do with it?
I mulched the front flower beds, yes, ma'am. I mowed the front yard and backyard.
Which he was not asked to do.
Oh, sure he was.
No, he wasn't.
I see the text.
Well, I mean, he said...
Just a second. I see the text.
Okay.
Sure he was. I mean, I'm looking to see whether he did $2,300 worth of work. Looks to me as if he did $2,300 worth of work. You may not like the $2,300 worth of work. You may not like the way he painted it, but he certainly was there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
May we show you things that he did that we didn't ask him to do?
I saw the texts back and forth. He discusses the stripe.
Right, we did not ask him to
He
paint
then
that.
say, don't touch it.
Okay.
And later today,
I would let him sleep on the floor in the living room along with his daughter, and his son would come over and sleep there and eat there and take showers.
Well, that sounds as if she was very nice to you.
She was very nice to me.
And why would you think she would steal your tools, which is what you're alleging?
Mary and Edward Boyer claim handyman Jameson Clay Johnston owes for incomplete and substandard work on their home. Clay is countersuing for unpaid work.
Okay, how long, Miss Dreyer, was he there?
A couple of months.
So every time you went there, over that 2-month period, according to you and your other realtors went into the house, there were things going on there.
Yes, ma'am.
There were things going on there.
Your Honor, I have pictures of the foyer where he did not finish.
So, show, I'm looking. I'm looking.
May we show you things that he did that we didn't ask him to do?
Like, for example, the...
Just a second.
In our dining room.
Just a second. I saw the texts back and forth. He discusses the striping with you in the text.
Right, we did not ask him to
He
paint
then
that.
say, don't touch it.
Okay.
That's what you do. I read all the texts.
When he said he was going to remove the wallpaper in the text, I said, Clay, that's not wallpaper, that's paint. You don't need to remove any wallpaper, nothing like that.
I read all the texts. He did $2,300 worth of work.
But, Your Honor, we have pictures of what he said he did and how it was done incorrectly. We have pictures of paint.
Then don't hire him again. You're not getting any money back from him. He did the work. He painted it. You were absentee owners. You had a realtor there to you. You know what? He's doing a terrible job, and you told him to stop We have a different story, but it sounds to me from your realtor that this young man was there with other people and tried to be most accommodating to you. He mulched your front yard. I know what I paid to have somebody and I bought the mulch, just mulched front and backyard.
He also had a friend of mine helping him do that.
Your case is dismissed. You have no case. We're done. Your counterclaim is ridiculous, sir, and I'm dismissing it. You do understand.
Thank you,
For more
yes,
money.
ma'am.
That's not happening.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There is paint all over my ceilings.
I'm happy with it.
Paint all over the woodwork.
These are the very first people to ever complain about my work.
Everything Clay did has to be redone.
The woman's just unreasonable.
Make sure you know your contractor, who you're dealing with.
Probably get recommendations on the people you're going to do work for.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Montawine versus Flores. Step forward.
Edward Montawine is suing his former friend, Patricia Flores, for stealing his work tools and loss of income.
Mr. Montawine, when did you go to live in the defendant's house? That was in April of this year?
Yes.
Were you homeless at the time?
Yes.
And you knew her from the mobile park home where she lived?
Yes.
She said you could come and live in her home, stay in her home.
Yes.
She also has a shed, and you moved some things into her shed.
Correct.
She didn't charge you any rent.
No.
She let you move in April. Where did you sleep?
I slept on the front room floor.
When exactly did you move in April?
I had moved in between the 1st and the 3rd.
Immediately prior to that, where was your last home?
My last home would be at Space in that mobile home park.
What happened to that home?
I finished with it.
What do you mean you finished with it?
I lived in a mobile home. I finished it, moved on to the next one. Finished it, moved on to the next one.
So what you do is you go in and do work in the house?
Yeah, the houses are empty when I move in.
Who pays you to do the work?
My boss.
But you and the boss had a falling out?
Yes.
What was that about?
Money.
That he said you took from him or that he owed you?
No, he owed me.
Did he ever give you the money?
No.
Then the first line of your complaint would be incorrect, because the first line of your complaint says, in April of this year, I was sent to Patricia's home by my former employer to do some work.
That's how I met Patricia.
In April, you were sent by this boss that you had a fight with, who fired you, to her house?
I must have the dates mixed up. Sorry about that.
That's what it says.
When I met Patricia, I came over to fix either, it might have been the steps or the loose at the time, and I'd go over there, and that's what I did. I fixed it, and I left. Okay, and she had a few
Then you had a fight with your boss?
Yes.
So after you had done some initial work for her,
Yes, ma'am.
time passed,
Yes.
and then you went back. Is that correct? Did he do some initial work for you at some point prior to April of this year?
Yes.
What kind of work did he do?
He came and looked at my swamp cooler, but it never got fixed. He did fix a belt on it, but he didn't fix the motor and the pads. The back door he didn't finish fixing. He didn't finish fixing the plumbing under the sink in the bathroom. He duct taped it.
When was this? In what month?
I moved there February 14th of this year. So since February 14th till the end of April, when he came into my home, there was odds and ends of things that had to be fixed.
So he was in and out of your home. Why don't you tell me why you let him move in and sleep on the floor in your home?
Because at the time he was sleeping in a shed by his daughter's house, and it was like just enough room for a blanket and a pillow. And so I said he can store his stuff. Wasn't using my storage, and I have a fenced-in yard, a small gate. And so I let him use that to keep his stuff in there or whatever. He did sleep in there, because when I wasn't home, I don't let anybody in my house, but I found later they were. But I would let him sleep on the floor in the living room, along with his daughter, and his son would come over.
Well, that sounds as if she was very nice to you.
She was very nice to me.
Then why would you think she would steal your tools, which is what you're alleging?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you got home, your father must have said to you, these aren't all my tools.
I had called him.
Called him on your what?
On my cell phone.
What kind of cell phone do you have? With that. And did you take a picture of the tools?
No.
You have anything else?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Edward Montawine says former friend Patricia Flores stole his work tools, causing him to lose work.
Okay, just asking you a question, sir. It sounds as if she was very nice to you.
Yes, she was.
Let you sleep in her house?
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter, son sleep in the house? And it doesn't look to me like this is a lady who uses tools herself. Why would you think she would steal your tools?
Because she told me that I have your tools, but I'm not going to, you can't have them back until it's clean.
Just a second. She said to you what and when?
She said, your tools are safe, there's nothing missing.
Your tools are safe, and when did she say that to you?
That would be about the 15th or 16th of last month, I believe. So
your tools are safe. Remember that conversation?
We didn't have a falling out. He left the house and never came and told me he was leaving or anything. His daughter came and took the stuff, all his property off of there.
Which daughter?
I have not talked to him. He's not been around.
Which daughter?
Audrey, the one that's got her hand raised.
That one?
Yes.
So you never had a conversation with him?
No.
Saying to him, I have your tools,
No,
they're
he
safe?
sent Billy in the house.
Who's Billy?
His ex-boss.
Are you back working for him?
No. I have a legally blind daughter that I go over there and I'll fix her whatever she needs fixed periodically. Okay, her next door neighbor needed a carburetor done, and I needed some specialty tools for it, so I sent my daughter Audrey over there to get them. And when she went over there, all my stuff was scattered out of her shed, scattered around her yard. All my possessions I had in there, except for my tools. And I had my daughter Audrey.
What tools are we talking about?
All my tools I've acquired over 15 years, Your Honor.
I'm asking you what specific tools.
Makita impact drill, Makita skill saw, all my tools, ratchets, toolbox.
You know where any of his tools are?
They're in a big blue trash can. Audrey came over with a hand truck, a dolly, a white one, and put that on there and walked it up the street to the other park. She got everything out there.
Other than what his daughter took, do you know where any of his tools?
No.
So the answer is
no.
You don't?
Nope.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you can stand up. On what date did you go over to the shed?
The 29th.
Of what month?
It was May 29th. I went over there to get my dad's tools because he needed certain tools to work on the car.
And what did you go over there with?
I went over there with a dolly.
And did you put the tools in the dolly?
Whatever tools that were left there, which was tools that basically...
Did you take photographs of the tools that you took?
No.
If you got home, your father must have said to you, these aren't all my tools.
I had called him, and I told him, I said...
Called him on your what?
On my cell phone.
What kind of cell phone do you have? With that. And did you take a picture of the tools?
No.
You have anything else? You have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Let me tell you something. I don't understand why somebody who was nothing but nice to you for no reason, nice to you, according to her, and nice to you.
She offered me her half of the bed.
You're watching
I'm finished.
TV.
I'm finished
Can
with
he
all of
give
you.
him his
We're
tools?
done. Give him whatever you have. Bird will give it to him. Officer Bird, will you transfer over to him everything that you have? Very good. We're done.
And this is it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I refused her half of the bed.
He's homeless. He needs money from somewhere.
When I left for a couple of days because I was uncomfortable, she took all the tools I've accumulated over 15 years, got rid of them.
I gave him back his tools that he left at the house.
We're all flawed in some way or another.
I like the guy. No bad ill feelings against him or his family.
You had some sort of an altercation with his little brother.
Yes.
Violence in a Chicago neighborhood.
When a brother comes down, we get to arguing. He swung, missed, I swung, connected, we fight.
Mr. King was very angry that his brother ended up in the hospital.
And Big Brother cuts to the chase.
When you went down there to talk to him, did you have a knife?
Him and his family had knives too, so...
You're not supposed to go to his house with a knife.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jermaine Minter is suing 21-year-old Trayvon.
Order. All rise. It's case number 141 on the calendar in the matter of Minter versus King.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. King, is this your younger brother?
No, this is actually my friend.
Your younger brother isn't here.
No, ma'am, he's still on house arrest.
House arrest for what?
I think it was a gang laundering or something. I don't know the exact case.
How long has he been on house arrest?
For approximately like 2 to 3 months now.
Was he incarcerated for any period of time?
Yeah, for about like a week or two, that's about it.
How old is he?
He's 18.
Now, there came a time when you had some sort of an altercation with his little brother.
Yes.
Tell me about the altercation, if you want to.
So the particular problem with me and him actually had a fight came March 17th, 2016. I was on my way to get my driver's license. In order to get to, I stay 63rd, my auntie stays 64th, so I have to walk past their house to get to my auntie house. I was on my way to get the money because she's the one paying it for me. That's when the brother comes down, we get to arguing.
You mean his brother came down?
I'm gonna call him heavy because
what was the argument about?
Because the night before, then I entered their house without knocking, and it just got on some, you supposed to knock. Well, if I'm coming here for the person and they told me to come in, you need to take
there
and just open the door.
And you opened the door. So the younger brother said,
you need to knock. But he didn't say it that night.
I got it. Did you get into a physical altercation
the
with
next
him?
morning? Not that night. That night it was just, okay, you a police. He called me a police. Okay, whatever you want to say. I left because I was at their house. I left, went home. The next morning, as I said, I was going to get my
driver's
license. Walking past my auntie to my auntie house to get the money for it, the brother run off the porch. Something saying, so was all that stuff about yesterday. Come on, man, ain't nobody on that with you. That's just how we talk. He swung, missed, I swung, connected, we fighting. I leave to go get my driver's license, he leaves to go to the hospital.
So you won the fight?
I'm guessing.
Okay. And then it is your claim, I don't actually think that Mr. King disputes the fact that Mr. King was very angry that his brother ended up in the hospital, and at some point he came to your house.
Yes.
When did you go to his house? What date? That date? March?
Actually, March 17th. If I can show you this, it basically stayed from the day that they got into it until now.
Something that you wrote out?
No, this is actually text message of him texting me.
Fine. I want to know when you went to his house.
March 19th to be exact.
What time?
I get off work at 2, so it had to be like about 3 o'clock.
Go over there with?
My friend.
How many others other than that one friend? How many others?
No, it was just us. Now, my father was there, but he
Just a second. So you, your friend, and your father?
Yes, but my father, you know what I'm saying, like he had a bad crash, so he was basically just telling me to come over there and find out what's happening.
Just a second.
Okay.
All I asked you was, how many people went to his house? So it was you, your friend, and your father.
Okay, yeah, that went to his house is just me and my friend.
Where was your father?
My father was, at the porch, you know what I'm saying, basically telling us, to just leave it alone.
Why didn't you listen to him?
Because I didn't go down there to fight. I went down there to talk to him as a man.
When you went down there to talk to him, did you have a knife? When you went down there to talk to him, did you have a knife?
Not the first time.
So you went down to talk to him twice?
Yeah, the first time I went to talk to him as a man, but I was, being aggressive, with these text messages.
Just a second. So when you went back the second time, was that also on March 19th?
Yes.
Then you did have a knife. And who went back with you the second time?
I went back down by myself.
You were there by yourself? With a knife. So you left your friend and you substituted a knife for your friend. Now tell me what happened when you got there the second time with the knife.
Okay, well, doing the first time, stuff like that, and then, him and his family had knives, too, so I went about it the wrong way, but I did go back down there because I wanted to get to the bottom of it, why this continuing problem with my baby brother at that.
Why was your baby brother in jail?
Whatever he does in the streets. Like I said, I don't know exactly.
Had nothing to do with him.
Right.
So, wouldn't that say something to you?
Ain't got nothing to do with him biting my brother in the eye.
What?
It don't have nothing to do with whatever my brother does in the street. It doesn't have nothing to do with him biting my brother in the eye.
Unless your brother started a fight with him.
Okay, my brother didn't start a fight with him.
How do you know that? You weren't there.
But I got uncles that tell me that what happened, too. My papa out there, too. He's 74 years old. You know what I'm saying?
So he's young.
No. The whole thing is, Your Honor...
Did he just say no? Listen, you had no reason to go to his house with a knife.
He had no reason to open my parents' door without their permission.
Mr. King, there may be things that I don't understand. There are a lot of clearly civilized things that you don't understand. Because somebody walks into somebody who is basically, your friends, you have a lot of people living in your house. He didn't go there to burglarize your house. He went there to see somebody in your house. And because you cop an attitude, because he didn't knock appropriately, doesn't mean that you go to his house. Your brother did. Doesn't...
His house because of knife, because of that.
What did you go to his house with a knife for?
The reason I went to his house with a knife is because When I went down there to talk to him as a man, you know what I'm saying, he got defensive with me after these text messages, which is before I even came down there. The whole point of me coming down there was because he bit my brother almost half his eye off. I went down there to talk to him about it, like, what's going on? Because like he said, he had an altercation with my baby brother again, you know what I'm saying? Then it went to my baby brother to my little brother, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to know what was going on. When I went down there, you know, he was telling me what he was going to do to me, like he was doing in the text, you know what I'm saying?
Now I'm going to take a look at the texts.
I got the top part for the beginning of it on my phone. And that was leading up to the...
Sorry. This is not in my mental wheelhouse, these emails. You're not supposed to go to his house with a knife.
He wasn't supposed to chase me down with a knife.
Listen to me. Don't answer that. That's a statement. It's not a question. It doesn't require an answer. You're not supposed to go to his house with a knife. You want to go to a mediation? Get a mediation. See, texts back and forth is not a civilized resolution to a problem. Now, he came to your house with a knife, but he didn't assault you. Is that correct?
Physically, no.
Okay. Now, the other part of your complaint is that he should be punished punitively because your daughter was present.
Yes.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter, 8. That's the first person they approached. They didn't approach me. They approached my daughter coming out of school. 6 guys coming up to my daughter. She's running down crying to my baby's mother. I'm in the house asleep. They actually come wakes me up. She's dramatic. My baby just... They say they finna jump you, Daddy. Who is they? Let me go out here and see. Open the door. Who do I see? Trayvon, the young gentleman right there. His father. His father got somebody. 3 more people. It's 7 people.
Okay. How far away from...
I stayed... I'm sorry.
From where you were is your daughter's school?
Directly right across the street. But she's more on the corner of 64th, where they let her out at, and I'm more on the corner of 63rd.
How old is she?
She'd be 9 July 31st.
Stand up. Tell me your last name.
Davis.
Mr. Davis, were you there on this date in March with Mr. King?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when for the first time did you see Mr. Minter's daughter?
The first time I saw her...
That day. You didn't see her outside?
I never knew that was his daughter. No, I did not.
And who else was there the first time that you went to the house?
His 2 little brothers, a female, his cousin, and his daddy.
And did you go back the second time?
No, I ain't go back the second time. I ain't walked back down the street the second time.
But at no time did you go to the school?
No, we never went to the school.
Did you ever go to the school?
No, ma'am.
All very, very upsetting. But not a lawsuit, actually. Not a lawsuit. What?
Can I say something? And the reason why his daughter was at my house, because I have 2 little cousins that she plays with, so that's the reason why she was there, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't harm no little lady.
Listen, I assume you were not arrested for assaulting his little brother. Is that correct?
No.
Did your little brother press charges against him?
No.
Is there a reason for that?
Because his little brother was wrong. I mean, his little brother still talk right now.
You do?
It's Trayvon is the problem. And no, they did not go to my daughter's school. My daughter have to walk past their house, and that's when they approached them. And when I tell you 7 people, the 7 people that it was included don't even include his 2 little brothers that was there.
Mr. King, listen to me. Do you have children?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
I got a little girl and I got a boy, a baby boy on the way.
I want to...
Shh. Listen to me.
Okay.
I assume you want better... I assume that that's what you all want for your children, something better than what you have. Then you have to start behaving in a more appropriate way. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's uncivilized to go to someone else's home with the intention of fighting them.
I wasn't intending to fight them.
Or scaring them with a knife. Uncivilized. To leave an area where you went to talk, and then you had a whole bunch of nasty texts back and forth, and then go home and arm yourself with a knife and go back. There are only 2 reasons for that, because...
I didn't go home and arm myself. The March 17th, all that was the same day. The same morning that he bit my little brother in the eye, all them text messages was from that day.
You told me it was on the 19th. Listen to me. You told me the 19th.
Right, the 17th, that's when he texted all that. I was going to go over there that same day, but he was telling me how he got his...
I don't care.
But I just don't want you to try to make it seem like I'm in the wrong or like I...
You are,
know what I'm saying?
but just a second. You are in the wrong. You told me a story that you were so angry because he almost bit your little brother's eye off that you wanted to talk to him and figure out what's all this about.
You ain't hear me out when before I told you.
You had these messages.
What happened? You know what I'm saying? I went over there to talk. Him and his baby mama, they got offensive, and they got to pulling out butcher knives. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, then a smart person would not go back with a knife.
Are you right?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
he filed a restraining order against my daughter and would not let her come on the property, and they forged the lease. You can see where the lease has been whited out with their names.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jermaine Minter says Trayvon King showed up at his home and threatened him with a knife.
Yeah, a smart person would not go back with a knife. If they copped an attitude because you were over there and you were trying to figure out what had happened with your brother so that he almost lost an eye and what was very calm, but they had butcher knives, a smart person would not go home and arm themselves with a butcher knife and then go back. Smart person wouldn't do that. Who has a child and one on the way wouldn't do that. I'm done with this case. It's no lawsuit here. Goodbye.
Oh, you gotta excuse me. Step out.
You shouldn't be 33 years old trying to fight an 18-year-old, you know what I'm saying?
If an 18-year-old hit you, are you gonna let him keep hitting you, or are you gonna fight back?
And no person not. Always knocking somebody's door, that's it.
The perfect solution would have been me getting paid for my screen door, then I would have let it die. But
it's about respect, right? Because I wouldn't, me knowing my little brothers won't walk in his crib and just open the door.
Now I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Y'all might be seeing me back in court or somewhere in jail or something.
You know what I'm saying? It's all about respect, that's it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Chapman versus Reset Covarrubias. Step forward.
Diane Chapman and her daughters, Sarah and Brandy, are suing their former landlord, David Reset, and his wife, Eleanor Covarrubias, for meter fraud, a false restraining order, and harassment.
I'm going to make this case very simple, although you folks have tried to make it far more complicated. You rented a property from the defendant.
Yes.
And you rented that property for how long?
The lease was 1 year.
And did you stay for the full year?
Yes, I did.
All right, and now that the year is up, you're complaining that while you were living there, the electricity bill that you were paying covered more than just your property. It covered property that was used in part by the defendant as a workshop and another rental property.
There was a trailer there.
A trailer. So there's only 1 meter, and you were getting the bill for that meter.
Yes, I was.
Now, the defendant doesn't seem to says is that was explained to you and the rent was reduced by $50 in consideration of that use by him in his shed and by the other people in the trailer of any electricity. Is that your defense, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you have a written lease?
Yes, we do.
Well, I'd like to take a look at it because that'll make it very, very simple because that piece would have to be in the written lease, that $50 is being deducted because the 1 meter covers more than just the plaintiff's property.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There was a door in the washroom that belonged to a customer of mine.
A door?
Yes.
How do you know that they took that door?
After they have left, I was checking my cameras, and on the camera was a photo of the daughter's boyfriend carrying a door.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Diane Chapman says her former landlord, David Reset, owes for meter fraud, a false restraining order, and harassment. David is countersuing for property damage, stolen property, and harassment.
Now, do you want to point it out to me where you wrote in the lease that you were discounting?
After the lease, after she signed the lease, there was another agreement.
Oh, then I'll take a look at that if it was written.
You're kidding me.
There's never another agreement after.
No, it was a verbal agreement.
You can't tell me what it was, sir. And it can't be a verbal agreement modifying the terms of the lease.
I believe it's in the other paperwork that I did not bring with me, Your Honor.
Okay, fine. Now, if what you say is that you were giving them a credit of $50 a month on the electricity and they were there for 1 year, that means you owe them $600 for electricity. Now, I'm not entertaining anything else about your alleged harassment by him of dumping cat's food over or your dog's food over. It's nonsense. If you don't like a place, you move out. You're entitled to $600, and $600 is for the electricity. Unless you can prove to me, and I don't see how you can, that the amount owed for electricity is more than $600. Do you have any proof that the electricity is...
I have a bill, the bill, but the case is mainly because he filed a restraining order against my daughter and would not let her come on the property from the very beginning day, and they forged the lease and took my daughter's name off the lease after we signed it. You can see where the lease has been whited out with their names.
Listen to me. Then don't stay. You don't wait until after you move investment or anything else. Now, what I want to know from you is, your main complaint in your answer was not about the plaintiff, but about her daughter and her daughter's conduct and the boyfriend's conduct around the house. That was your main complaint.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not entertaining your counterclaim with regard to harassment either. They're gone from the property. But what I do want to know is, what property do you allege that they took from the house that didn't belong to them?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, what property do you allege that they took from the house that didn't belong to them?
Well, Your Honor, there was a door in the washroom that belonged to a customer of mine.
A door?
Yes.
What kind
a
of...
pre-hung door, for an interior door.
And it belonged to somebody else?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a handyman by trade, and I keep materials on the property for jobs that I'm getting ready to do.
Oh, so there was a door that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
not hanging up. It was just there.
Correct.
And how do you know that they took that door?
After they have left and gone, I was checking my cameras. That would be October 4th, 2014. I was checking my cameras and a friend carrying a door.
And you saw this in October of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not interested in it. We're now in 2016. The reason she says she didn't file anything with regard to the meter was because she said she had to wait in order to get something from the local government before she could file with regard to the meter. That's an excuse for not filing in 2 years. So, judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $600. Are we finished? Good. Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He was a bully, and he's getting by with it.
It was a good tenant at the beginning.
He called the police on us. He would not let my daughter come on the property.
Then the daughter started bringing her boyfriend and her friends over, and these people I know.
What does my boyfriend have to do with our lease?
For a fact, are drug addicts.
It's not true.
I'm not renting again.
I would guess it was just a wrong fit.
I'll burn the place down.
While you were a squatter and not paying rent, she was your roommate.
Complaints from a freeloading renter.
What month's rent do you claim she didn't pay?
July and August.
Well, you locked her out in July.
Right.
And the next month wasn't much better.
She called the police stating that I had broken into the house and stole some of her property.
After she came back in, did you call the police again?
Yes.
I wouldn't stay there.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Heidi Gennaro is suing her former roommate, Stephanie Hernandez, for rent, late fees, attorney fees, and the cost to change their locks.
Order. All rise. It's case number 187 on the calendar in the matter of Gennaro versus Hernandez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Gennaro, you were renting a house or condo.
A condominium.
Were you renting it from the owner?
Yes.
Were you renting it from the owner?
Yes.
What's the owner's name?
Hood.
When did you start renting the condo?
On December 22nd of 2015.
And what was your rent?
$1,650.
Sign a lease?
That's right.
For how long?
For a year.
When did you move out?
I moved out August 27th.
So well before your lease was up.
Well, 2016.
So you overstayed your lease?
That's correct.
Did you sign a new lease?
No.
Were you ever served an eviction notice?
No.
Never?
No.
3-day notice to quit?
Yes, that was it.
On what date?
I believe it was June.
That you can prove to me that you paid rent on this condo.
It was August 5th, 2016.
And how much did you pay?
$1,650.
And how much did you pay in July?
$1,650.
And in June, how much rent did you pay?
I paid the same amount, $1,650.
Then you want to explain to me why you were served with a 3-day notice to quit.
Because in June, my father passed away, and I became a little behind because I was sending some money over to my country.
How much a little behind?
About $1,000 short.
But then you paid, according to you, after June, you paid all your rent.
That's correct. I sent her an email, and I explained to her my situation, and I let her know that I was going to pay her rent a little late, and she was okay with that.
You can't tell me what she was okay with, or even that you sent her an email. And she clearly wasn't okay with it because you were served with a 3-day notice to quit. And you did, in fact, leave. You were served with the notice to quit in August?
They were going to sell the property.
You know, we're going to get to the truth here. You understand that?
I do.
I'm glad you understand we're going to get to the truth here. You've been doing what you do a long time. I've been doing what I do longer. So you had some family problems. You stopped paying rent or were shorting on rent. They were going to sell the property anyway. So at some point, you became a squatter. Right.
I guess so.
I guess so. Now, while you were a squatter and not paying rent, she was your roommate.
Correct.
And your rent was $600 a month.
Correct.
You moved in with Miss Gennaro when?
December 30th, 2015.
So you moved in with her at the same time that she rented the place?
I moved in on December 30th, 2015. I don't know when she first made.
Well, she said she moves in on December 22nd, 2015.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's 2014. December 20th, 2014. I'm sorry.
So you moved in a year later because you got the date wrong. And you were paying $600 a month. Your lawsuit says she didn't pay rent for a couple of months. She owes you money for rent. She owes you late fees. She owes you attorney's fees, and you changed the locks on her. Now, let me ask you this. When you moved out, after you got the 3-day notice to quit and you stayed a little while longer because the marshals were going to eventually come and throw you out, you ultimately left, owing the landlord rent. You owe the landlord rent.
No.
You were all caught up. Give me the landlord's number. You're going to waste my time. I'm going to go there and find out.
Do you have my receipts?
Listen to me carefully. I'm going to call your landlord and find out when you moved if you were up to date on your rent. Now, you rented from this person for a couple of years, so you clearly have her number because you emailed her, you told me, and she wrote you back and said everything was okay. Is this going to be a waste of my time? I don't like to waste my time. Were you totally current with your rent when you moved out?
I was a week behind. I actually asked her.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is you were 1 week behind the $1,650 rent, and that's all you were when you moved out. Give me the date that you moved out.
Could I explain?
All I want to know is if I call the landlord, which is going to mean my having to get up from this chair, and I'm not a spring chicken, and go out that door and get on a phone, and I will get to your landlord, and I'm going to say, when Miss Gennaro moved out, did she owe you any rent? That's what I'm going to ask her. And is she going to say to me, well, she owed me a week? Is that what she's going to tell me? Or is she going to tell me that you owed her for several months, or you owed her $1,000, or you owed her $2,000, or you stopped paying your rent in June when your father got sick?
When my dad passed away, I got to June 28. I gave her $1,650 for the month of June.
You moved out in August.
Right, so then August came around.
You know, first comes July.
Okay, so July, okay, so that's correct. So July came, and then I paid my rent. I asked Ms. Hernandez to pay me her rent by text, and she refused to do that.
All I want to know is when you, don't tell me anything about her. Okay. She doesn't have a lease with the landlord.
Correct.
You have a lease with the landlord. Am I going to get an answer to my question? At the time that you moved out in August, did you owe any rent?
I did for 1 week.
So you got 2 notices. One that says you were late for your rent in June, and it was a 3-day notice to quit. And then subsequently you got a notice that said that they were selling the premises.
That's correct.
And that was in the same month. Well, it was actually posted the beginning of July.
That's right.
So what you're telling me is you paid rent for July and August, after you got these things, you paid your rent. And you lived there until when?
Until July 16th. That's when she locked me out.
Did you get back in?
Yes.
When?
August 2nd.
When did you move out?
I moved out August 20th.
Now, in the interim, because there was some sort of a kerfuffle against her, or she got one against you?
She got one against me.
Okay. But you still both live together?
Yes.
Except for the period of time that she was out because you would change the locks.
She changed her lock first.
And then you changed the lock back.
That's right.
Okay. And the judge told you that she could be there.
That's right.
So that she came back. What month's rent do you claim she didn't pay?
July and August.
Well, you locked her out in July, right?
Right.
So you don't get paid for July. And you moved back in August 2nd.
Yes.
Why didn't you pay rent for the month of August?
Because when I went to the house on August 5th, she called the police stating that I had broken into the house and stole some of her property. And then I, at that point, said I'm not going to live here because she told the officers if something happened to her, they would be responsible for it.
I thought you moved out at the end of August.
Correct. I was not living at the house on August after that. It was just more.
After what date?
After August 2nd, I just went in there, grabbed some belongings, and went to my parents' house.
Okay, so you had property in there.
Correct.
But you physically didn't live there.
Correct.
When you moved back in August, pursuant to the judge's direction, and you left your property there, which ordinarily would mean that you're there, is it true that while her property remained on the premises, she was not there after the beginning of August?
She was there.
When?
After August 2nd. The judge granted her with her restraining order.
No, I understand that you could be there.
And I could only be 3 yards away from her, assuming that...
I understand that the judge made that order. She says that she moved into her parents' home because after she moved back, because I assume your hearing was the beginning of August or the end of July, correct?
That's right.
And the judge said she can come back in, so she came back in. After she came back in, did you call the police again?
I called...
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
How many days after she moved back in?
The next day.
Great. And is what you're telling me, she remained after you called the police in August? She remained?
Yes.
Personally, physically, she slept in the house?
She was there off and on. I don't know. I was never there.
Oh.
So she was there. There was times that she was there and sometimes she was not there. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
She was there sometimes, yes.
Right. Well, I would like to know what you think that she owes you. You locked her out in July. There was clearly problems in August where you called the police the day after she came in. I wouldn't stay there.
Judge
door.
She can put locks
It's
on
not
her
my
bedroom
property.
door. She put locks on the outer door, her bedroom door.
And her bedroom door.
She could put a lock on her bedroom door.
And that's because she broke it.
Shut! I don't want to hear. Don't speak unless you seem to be losing.
And later today,
I would like to know what your defense is. Your dog was off leash in an area where your dog was supposed to be leashed.
Yes, because the gate was broken, so...
I don't care whether the gate was broken or it was being sent off to Pluto.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Heidi Gennaro says her former roommate, Stephanie Hernandez, owes for rent, late fees, attorney fees, and new locks. Stephanie is countersuing for an illegal lockout and harassment.
Go ahead.
She was there off and on throughout August and July. Even after and before I locked her in, she was coming in there with the police.
You're not entitled to any rent. I don't know if you're entitled to anything because it seems almost unfathomable to me that after you found out that they were selling the premises and they posted this 3-day notice to quit, you continued to pay rent, even though you sort of fell behind in June and you only owe a week's rent. So what else do you think she owes you? Attorney's fees for what?
Because I needed to get some legal advice.
What you needed to do is not lock out your tenant.
Could I explain that?
No, you can't lock out your tenant. Just like your landlord can't lock you out.
She put locks in her door.
She can put locks
it's
on
not
her
my
bedroom
property.
door. She put locks on the outer door, her bedroom door.
And her bedroom door.
She could put a lock on her bedroom door.
And that's because she broke it.
Shut! I don't want to hear. Don't speak unless you seem to be losing. Okay, I've taken care of that. Money owed for expenses due to an illegal lockout and harassment.
Correct.
Where are you living now?
I am currently sleeping on the floor at my parents' house.
So you're living with your parents?
Correct.
How old are you?
I am 22.
Okay, so you're living with your parents?
Yes.
Great. She doesn't have to pay you any rent because you locked her out in July. She moved out in August after you called the police again. Your counterclaim for harassment is dismissed. We're done.
But I was locked out and she harassed me.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
According to her, she felt that she was going to get killed by me.
To kill me and get me out of there one way or another, she broke into my room with a weapon.
What I learned is that I think from now on, I guess it's best just not to have a roommate.
I'll live alone without anyone harassing me or banging on my door.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Furness versus Bolanos. Step forward.
Corey Furness is suing neighbor, 21-year-old Vianney Bolanos, for vet bills after her...
Furness, it is your claim that the defendant's dog attacked yours.
Yes.
And her dog was in an area where she should have had a leash?
No. She was outside of the gated area with her dogs were out of... She was by the entry of the area where I was going when I walked up, but her dogs were off leash running around in the park.
Is it an area in the park where her dog was allowed to be off leash? What kind of dog do you have?
A husky and a chihuahua.
Do you have photographs of the area?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the area that you're referring to. And I assume it wasn't the chihuahua that you claim attacked your dog?
No. The grassy area is the park area, and the dirt area would be the area where the dogs would be.
The dirt area is the dog park?
Yes. As you walk around on the pictures, you'll see that's the gate that's going to be separates the park and the dog
And the
area.
dog park?
Correct.
Where were you?
I walked up to that gate, and she was at that gate, but her dogs were not with her. They were running around in the park over off to the side, and I was carrying one of my dogs, and I had him on a leash, so she had looked at me at that point.
Okay, so your dog, the one that's here, this well-behaved little creature, was on a leash?
Yes.
And you were holding the other?
Yes.
And walking into the gate?
Correct.
And her dogs were out to the gate and call her dogs?
Yes.
I assume. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So your defense is not, I assume, because if they were outside the fenced area, they were not permitted to be off leash. What I read in your answer is there was no attack.
I wouldn't say that, but...
Well, that's what you said in your answer. There was never an attack.
Well, he was going to kick my dog, so I pulled her. So my dog reacted, and my dog did bite his dog, but to say that she mauled his dog or shook it and, like, threw it on the floor, that did not even happen.
Is what you're...
He wrote that in a statement, and I read it, so...
I want to know what you... Just a minute. He's going to show me pictures, I assume, of the injuries to his dog and show me the vet bills. I would like to know what your defense is. Your dog was off-leash in an area where your dog was supposed to be leashed.
No, we were inside the off-leash dog area.
Your dogs were off-leash outside the area.
Yes, because the gate was broken, so...
I don't care whether the gate was broken or it was being sent off to Pluto in a rocket.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I wouldn't personally take my little dogs into an area where there are bigger dogs because...
Well, I was there already.
Your dogs were outside off first. They were inside a womb first.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Corey Furness says neighbor Vianney Bolanos owes for vet bills due to a dog attack.
Your dogs were off leash in an area where they were supposed to be on the leash until they got inside the gate.
Yes.
And then you take them off leash.
Yes.
Now, so tell me what your defense is.
Okay. So you want me to tell you the full story?
No, I want you... Your dog came up. That's what you just told me. And now you're saying that this is wrong. There was sort of an attack. Your dog did bite his dog. Well, if your dog bit his dog, that's an attack.
Okay. I came into the park with my dogs both on leashes, and then I was inside the park. So, like I said, the gate was broken. So my small dog fit through under the gate. So my husky chased her. So that's when I was at the grassed area because I went to go get them.
I don't care.
So then I came back inside to get my dog's leash because that's where my dog's leash was, inside the park.
Inside the dog park, the fenced dog park.
Yes.
So we have to say fenced. Your dogs have to be on a leash.
Okay.
So now your dogs are out in the greater park without a leash.
Yes.
And?
Okay, so then
Dogs are curious, obviously, so both of my dogs went up to...
I have 3 dogs. One is curious, one not so curious.
Well, they went up to, like, smell each other, whatever. So then he just started yelling at me and saying, "Get your dog off," and my dog wasn't doing anything yet. So I just grabbed my dog.
Wasn't doing anything yet?
Yes.
Is what you just said.
Well, so then I grabbed my dog's leash. I was about to go, and then both of my dogs ran, and his dogs ran after, like, towards the middle of the off-leash gated area. When we were there, this is when he started just, like, yelling at me and just, like, saying, "Your dog's killing my dog," but my dog wasn't doing anything. So then he starts cussing at me. He just, like...
May I please see photographs of the dog, please, and the vet bills? That's an attack.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to Judge Judy. Follow us on Twitter.
Listen, if you have a big dog, you have to keep the dog on the leash all the time, unless the dog is in a fenced area that is designed for just dogs. And then if he comes in and he sees a big husky, he can make a determination as to whether or not he wants to take his little dog into a fenced-in area where there are big dogs. I wouldn't personally take my little dogs into an area where there are bigger dogs because...
Well, I was there already for like 40 minutes.
Your dogs were outside off-leash.
They were inside first.
They were inside first. They were inside a womb first. That's also true, but at the time that this happened, they were off-leash where they weren't supposed to be. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $864. We're done. Thank you.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Her dog came breaking in through the gate where we were and attacked my dogs.
My dog didn't hurt his dog until he cussed and tried kicking my dog.
It's the scariest day I ever had.
Yeah, my dog reacted, but I've had this dog 7 years. She's never had a problem.
Be responsible.
My dog bit his dog, but it's not how, like, he makes it seem.
So you had a long-term relationship broke down.
To stubborn roommates.
Neither one of you wanted to leave the apartment.
But she still leaned on her ex.
How did you split the rent?
I paid my half. When she couldn't afford her half, I had to cover it.
You didn't fulfill your end of the obligation. Once she becomes your roommate, she's got to pay her bills.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Brian Riemann Schneider is suing his ex-girlfriend, Catherine Anderson, for unpaid rent.
Order. All rise. It's case number 166 on the calendar in the matter of Riemann Schneider versus Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Raymond Schneider, you and the defendant were a couple and rented an apartment together. What month and year did you lease the apartment?
Originally, we leased the apartment several years ago. I would think it's in July of 2013.
Did you renew the lease?
Yes.
The last renewal of the lease was when?
That would have been last year.
Month,
I would say probably around June.
And then there came a time when the relationship broke down, and that was when?
I couldn't get a month. I would
you
say
know? What month?
Thanksgiving Day last year, 2015.
Okay. Now, so you had a long-term live-in relationship. You renewed the lease at least twice. Did you own 2 cars?
Separate vehicles, yes.
Yes. You had a job?
Yes, part-time. I was going to school full-time as well.
How were you supporting yourself other than the part-time job?
Student loans, grants, and scholarships that I received.
And what were you doing, Miss Anderson?
In November, I had
Not
started...
November. In 2015.
I was working.
For whom?
Part-time.
For whom?
At a gift shop and a museum.
And what were you doing with the other part-time?
I just had that job, which I still carry now.
How do you support yourself?
With this job.
Okay. So you both were working part-time. You may have had student loans. I don't know what else you did to complete your income package, but each one of you were paying your own bills, correct?
Yes.
You bought your own clothes?
Correct.
You bought your own clothes?
Yes, Your Honor.
You paid your own car note and insurance?
That's right.
You paid your own car note and insurance?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And that was out of a checking account?
Yes.
That was out of a checking account?
That's right.
Did you ever have a joint checking account?
No.
Okay. Then you had other bills. Then you had basic household bills. How much was the rent?
Recently, it was $750, Your Honor.
Okay, so it was $750.
I would say 50-50, Your Honor.
What do you mean you would say? What does that mean?
I paid my half. When she couldn't afford her half, I had to cover it.
So you covered her half of the rent?
A lot of the times, yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct, with an exception that I paid for other bills, including electricity bills and gas bills and other things on top of it.
Well, other things. What other things?
Groceries every now and then, the cable bill and the internet bills every now and then, too, what I could pay.
Okay, so what you're telling me is when you could afford it, you paid half of the rent. When you couldn't afford it, he covered the rent.
Correct, with his agreement.
And you also paid, when you could, the electric bill and some groceries.
And including the gas bill, too.
And a gas bill.
Yes.
Okay. Then in November, things went south, and this is what the case is about. There came a time, Miss Anderson, when neither one of you wanted to leave the apartment. Each one of you wanted the apartment. And so we were at a stalemate. You're each on the lease and decided to do what I think is impossible to do after a long-term relationship, stay in an apartment together and run your lives separately. But you, sir, say that there came a point where Miss Anderson, who wanted to remain in the apartment, wanted you to leave, stopped paying rent at all. And when was that?
I couldn't say exactly, Your Honor.
Well,
because...
listen to me. This is a court. Your lawsuit said at some point she stopped paying any rent, she stopped paying any bills. She was basically a squatter because you were no longer a couple. So you have to tell me when that happened, in what month.
I couldn't tell you exactly what month, Your Honor, because, for example, all of last year I paid for every month. Even some of these bills that she speaks of, Your Honor, the cable bill, the gas bill, I paid those as well.
I don't care. As long as you're in a couple relationship and enjoying each other, sharing a bedroom, sharing a life together, doing things together as a couple, I don't care whether she paid the rent or she didn't pay the rent. Then you're no longer a couple and no longer have the perks of the relationship. No longer go out to dinner together, go to a movie together, snuzzle at night together. She might even bring a new boyfriend. Is that a new boyfriend? Might even bring a new boyfriend home at night. So at that point, that person is no longer your girlfriend or your partner. She becomes your roommate. Once she becomes your roommate, she's got to pay her bills. So I'm going to ask you again. In what month after November of 2015 did she stop paying rent?
In November.
Okay, and when did she move out?
She moved out in June of this year.
Okay, so November, Thanksgiving, since she remembers what date it was that you finally had a blow up. December, January, February, March, April, May, and you moved out when in June?
June 1st.
6 months rent, and the rent was $750?
That's right.
Now, I suppose if I asked you whether you had any proof that you paid rent after starting in December, you would say I did not pay rent.
I can say that, yes.
Okay, so you did not pay rent. So now you're going to show me, I assume, consistent with what your position was, all the paid bills that you paid in December for gas, electric, and cable.
Correct.
Okay, let's start with December.
And on there, it looks like I just paid the energy bill for that month.
So you paid only energy bills the month of December?
For that specific
Just
month.
a second. So that somebody else had to pay the cable, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you get no credit for that. Great. Now, what about January?
January of 2016, I have a check stub here that I wrote to Ryan for $375, including some grocery bills that I can prove.
I'd like to see that. Any rent? This is all crossed out. This is all crossed. This is not a check.
It's the carbon copy of the check, Your Honor.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't at all. It's a carbon copy of nothing. It's a carbon copy of something that you wrote yesterday. What's next? February.
Okay, well, I have a carbon copy also for $375 that I wrote to Ryan.
That you wrote
for
yesterday.
rent.
Go ahead. I want to see a canceled check. You know what a canceled check is from a bank?
I do not.
How old are you?
32.
Well, if you're 32 years old, you should know what a canceled check is from a bank. Go.
Is that the same
Next.
voided
Next.
check? Okay.
Next.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Pursuant to an arrangement that you testified to earlier, where he paid all of the rent and you paid the utility bills. Then you had a big fight. It was clearly a hostile environment. And then you decided to pay your half of the rent. Is that what you want me to believe?
And later today,
She's a pizza delivery person?
Yes.
In whose car was she delivering pizzas?
In her car.
Well, what were you doing there?
Helping her.
Helping her how?
She needed a babysitter.
So you had the baby in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe a word you just said to me.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ryan Riemenschneider says ex-girlfriend Katie broke up with him and refused to move out.
What you say, actually, Miss Anderson, is so totally unbelievable because your whole case was that you never paid your half of the rent because that was your agreement. Your agreement was he paid all of the rent and you paid the rest of the bills. So now I'm asking you to show me the bills that you paid. January, February, March, April, and May. The other bills, so far you have nothing because you paid one electric bill for December, but then he had to cover the other utilities. And he also paid the rent, which you did not. So let's move on.
For February and March, I actually do have some proof here that I did pay for the gas and the electricity bills.
And what about the cable?
Cable...
Oh, it's not an answer. You don't have, so he paid the cable.
Your Honor, can I say something?
No, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Not necessary. You paid the gas and the electric, so he paid the cable. So you didn't fulfill your end of the obligation.
Correct.
What's next? March, April, May. Let's go.
I have a lot of carbon copies of the checks that apparently aren't working here. So I don't know. I mean,
so
can
all
I
of a
explain
sudden,
myself?
let me understand something.
Yeah.
So almost 3 years you lived together, pursuant to an arrangement that you testified to earlier, where he paid all of the rent, because that's what it also says in your answer, and you paid the utility bill. One of you wanted to move. It was clearly a hostile environment, right? And then you decided to pay your half of the rent.
Yeah.
Is that what you want me to believe?
Some months I did, some months I didn't.
No, but you have carbon copies for every month. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $22.50. We're done.
Parties are excused and they step out.
How was I supposed to make her leave?
If he had a problem with me not paying rent, I don't understand why he's suing me now.
Am I supposed to evict my own ex-girlfriend from the lease?
I brought a guy that I was seeing at the time over.
It's a very rude thing to do.
That was the trigger point for him to sue me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Chapman versus Boyd. Step forward.
Louise Chapman is suing her former friend, Stephanie Boyd, for damage to her car's sunroof.
Miss Chapman, how long have you and Miss Boyd been friends?
I've known Stephanie Boyd for about 15 years, 16 years.
And you have children, is that right?
Yes, I have two kids, one 10 and one is going on 2 years old.
And there came a time when you needed a place to stay.
Yes.
When was that?
This is around, I say, the end of June, around the beginning of July.
Of last year?
Yes, ma'am.
And she invited you to come and stay with her until you got on your feet?
Yes, she did.
And when Miss Boyd invited you into her home in June or July, you weren't paying any rent?
No, I stayed with her up until, I say, around March.
So, let's say 9 months.
Yes.
And during those 9 months, she paid the rent. It was her house?
No, it was not. No, it was another friend of mine's. It was her house. So we were all roommates, and she was paying the rent.
Who was paying the rent?
The other friend. Her name was Celia.
You weren't paying any rent?
This was prior to I moved out of my home. When she first ran back into me, I had my own apartment at the time.
I'm talking about in July. Where were you living? With whom?
We were staying with our friend Celia.
The two of you?
Yes.
In July?
Yes.
And did that continue until March?
Yes.
Who paid the rent?
Celia.
You did not pay rent either?
No.
Just for my own information, why would your friend Celia cover the two of you for rent?
My lease was up on my apartment, and so in between homes, I asked her if I could stay with her. She said if push comes to shove, I have a second room. No one's in there. You're more than welcome to come. And at that time, Louise was also with me.
She was with you?
Well, she was, I guess, stayed a night, went back to wherever she was, and then came back, stayed a couple nights, and then she was staying with another friend of hers in North St. Louis at the time as well.
Well, when did you all move in with Celia?
We both moved in. Cece had invited me, and she kind of came.
What month? So had you been staying with Miss Boyd before that?
No, I was
in
not.
her apartment?
No, I was not staying with her in her apartment. No, I was not.
You still didn't answer my question as to why Celia would...
Because she was my best friend at the time.
Okay, and you came along for the ride?
Yes.
All right. This is what the case is about. It is your claim that Ms. Boyd broke the sunroof on your car. You want her to pay for it.
Yes.
Ms. Boyd says you broke that yourself. Okay, so tell me when she broke the sunroof on your car.
She broke the sunroof on my car around the month of September.
September of last year.
Yes, we had an agreement that as long as, since we were both staying with Celia, as long as I was working, that she would transport my daughter back and forth to daycare as long as she was able to use my car to also get back and forth to, I say, business meetings and also to transport her cookies. She was doing a cookie business that she had.
So the deal was she could use your car to transport your daughter, to take your daughter, because you were working.
Yes.
Fine. So this happened in September. Tell me what happened in September.
Okay. She dropped me off at a doctor's appointment, and she dropped my daughter off to daycare, and she went to pick her up. When she came back to pick me up, she inside of the sliding track of your sunroof. And she said, I forgot to get the pin out, and I tried to close your sunroof, and it made a noise. I say, did you get the pin out, though? She said, yes, I got the pin out. So now your sunroof won't close.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
After this incident, you lived together September, October, November, December, January, February, and March. So my question is, why almost a year later are you suing her?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Louise Chapman says former friend Stephanie Boyd damaged her sunroof. She is suing for the cost to fix it.
Okay, how did that happen?
I was helping her while she was on the clock. She was a delivery driver for a pizza company that's in St. Louis.
I don't care about that. I want to know how the pen got stuck in the sunroof. Don't look there. Here.
We were all making a police report. We were all riding on top of the vehicle. It was me.
Who was making a police report?
Me, Louise, and the officers, and maybe one other person.
Why were you making a police report?
Because the incident needed a police report.
What
That's
incident?
Not true, Your Honor.
She got hit by a car while she was on the job, and we had to come back to make a police report.
That's not true, Your Honor.
I don't want you to say anything. You see how she let you talk? No, I want to go further. This is in September of 2015.
Yes, ma'am.
She got hit by a car.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I want you to remember, this is very easy to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
She called you?
No, I was working with her. She was working as a delivery driver, and we were driving. I was helping her babysit her child because she didn't have a sitter at the time.
No. She's a pizza delivery person?
Yes.
In whose car was she delivering pizzas?
In her car.
Well, what were you doing there?
Helping her.
Helping her how?
Because she could not see at night at the time, and she needed a babysitter.
So you had the baby in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe a word you just said to me.
It's very true.
You have a police report?
The police report,
No,
I do not have it. No, I do not have it with me.
You have a police report?
No, it was one made.
Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Did you have an attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Was there a lawsuit filed against anyone in that accident?
No, Your Honor, because that's not true.
What's not true?
What she just got through describing.
Just a second. I'm asking you a question. Was there an accident?
No, Your Honor, there was not an accident at all.
Okay. So this sunroof broke as a result of somebody getting into. And my question to you, Ms. Chapman, is after this incident, you lived together in the home September, October, November, December, January, February, and March.
Yes.
So my question is, why almost a year later are you suing her? You lived together. She continued to use your car to transport your daughter, continued to take her to daycare. You worked, baked cookies, lived in the house together. Why a year later are we here?
Due to the fact because I still needed someone to watch my kid, and she didn't move out the house until February of 2016, and she gave me the runaround saying that she would pay for the sunroof. And I was working only a temp job, so I tried saving up money to get the sunroof fixed. But while trying to save up money to get the sunroof fixed, I was also right along with helping Celia with bills and also house materials for the house at the same time. So that was all hard at one time.
When was the sunroof fixed?
The sunroof didn't get fixed until May of this year because I wound up getting an actual stable job instead of a temp job.
I'd like to see...
Of the broken sunroof.
Well, but you could see it was broken, correct?
Yes, I could see that it was broken.
Yeah, I assume that if you felt as if she was responsible, you would use that iPhone that you've got there to take a picture of it if you thought you might sue her.
That I should have, but I didn't take pictures of the broken sunroof.
You certainly should have.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Can I see the bill that you had to fix it? Oh, Bert, can I have your glasses? I think I left mine inside. Am I going to be blind from your glasses? Does that say 580.58?
Can I have my glasses? 580.58, exactly.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of 580.58. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't care who, like, I broke your sunroof.
Obviously, somebody left a pin up there. We get in the car. She pushes the button. Crack. Oh, snap.
How did you forget you dropped the pin in her?
Life is life.
As they say in the world, nothing is free.
You have a common property line.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's been some difficulty.
Neighbors in a land war.
You did a survey.
She said that my survey was wrong. She didn't agree with it, and so she went ahead and built a fence on it.
The fence that she built was on your property, and you forced her to take it down.
Can the judge knock down barriers to peace?
If this is what is occupying your time, I think that you probably both need to be on some serious medication.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Christine Boisier is suing her neighbor, Elizabeth Allen, for damages resulting from the construction of a fence.
Order. All rise. Yeah, that's case number 154 on the calendar in the matter of Boisier versus Allen.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Boisier, how long have you lived in your home?
We moved in July 4th.
End of October last year, 2015.
And you are neighbors. Your properties are adjacent to each other. Is that correct?
Her property sits behind mine.
It sits behind yours, but it touches
Yes,
your
ma'am.
property. You have a common property line.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct? And there's been some difficulty, I gather. Your complaint is that the defendant built part of a fence on your property to enclose her property.
Yes, ma'am.
You did a survey.
Yes, ma'am.
That survey indicated that the fence that she built was on your property.
Yes, ma'am.
And you forced her to take it down.
Yes, ma'am.
Who took it down, by the way?
I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know who took it down. Somebody took it down. Either you took it down or you had a fence company take it down. And in taking it down, the poles of your property were damaged and had to be repaired. In addition, you think that Miss Allen should pay for the survey that you were forced to do.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a problem because you say that you also had to do a survey.
Yes, ma'am.
To counter the plaintiff's survey.
Yes,
so you want her to pay for your survey. And something about the removal of some trees that both the plaintiff and other neighbors objected to, that you were planning to remove, that were on your property.
Yes, ma'am.
And tree companies came to remove the trees. The plaintiff and some other neighbors became tree huggers, wouldn't let them remove the trees really quickly. I'm not awarding either of you anything for conducting a survey of your property. I happen to think that that's always a very good idea. You are a new neighbor, and if there are any issues with regard to the property and the property lines, you should conduct a survey. Similarly, if you have an issue with a neighbor to protect your property, and the fence that she built is in the rear of your property?
Yes, ma'am. She contested the first survey that we did have done.
That's okay. She is permitted to do that. How large a parcel of property do you have, Miss Boisier?
0.225 acres.
And how large a piece of property?
I'm not exactly sure the exact.
Is it an acre? Is it 2 acres? Is it?
No, I would say it's probably like, it's less than half an acre.
This fence that's at the back of your property, Is that fence visible from your house?
Yes.
How much of an encroachment was there?
May I show you?
Yes.
The first fence that she attempted to build was from the point of her lot over to our fence on this side. The survey then showed that she was encroaching over here. So she, in turn, went and built the fence here. That's what this line is right here, and just attached to our fence on this side, encroaching. It starts probably, I would say, maybe less than a foot here, and increases up to a little bit more.
Step back. So that the only thing that I'm actually now interested in on your side is evidence of the damaged post that you say existed as a result of her removing the fence.
Well, when she had the fence removed, we were home, my husband and I at the time.
So you knew who removed the fence?
I don't know who. I mean,
there were other people. It wasn't the defendant.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so it was a company.
I don't know. It was just.
Who removed the fence?
My fence company, and it wasn't actually a fence. It was one board that was moved. The fence is still there. It's been built. But she had stated that it was across her property line. It's right on the property line, the piece of board. It's one board that was removed.
Okay.
It's not actually a fence.
Okay, do you have a picture of that?
No, I do not.
Okay, so your fence people removed it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I want to see proof that that post was damaged as a result of the removal of that board. Let me see.
I have, the first picture is the her fence post that's right next to my fence post. This one shows where it was bent. And the third picture shows a little bit better where the post has broke off at the bottom when they installed the fence post on her lot. It damaged mine. And at the same time, they cut the cable line. The main cable line was in that area, and they cut that too, because none of the utilities had been previously.
I correct that?
It's the second post in, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This one?
Yes, ma'am. The second post in is the one that was busted. And it's in direct line with the post that I guess her fence people put up.
Can I see a picture? I haven't even seen a picture. I don't even know about a post.
Are you talking about this split in the...
No, ma'am. The post itself...
Oh, I see.
The post itself was...
You're talking about down here?
Yeah, the post itself was broke when they erected her fence on her property.
Would you show these to the defendant, please? Anything else? Anything else?
The survey, I just feel that.
Survey? I don't care what you feel.
Well,
you have a survey for your own property.
She contested my survey. That's why I had to have a second survey.
Good.
Because she contested it. But she knew the property lines because her survey was done.
Don't tell me what she knew.
Well...
Okay. Now, Miss Allen, I don't actually see such a big deal when you're talking about less than a foot of property that should create bad feeling and animus between two neighbors that are going to have to live together. So I actually don't understand it, but you're certainly entitled to bring a lawsuit if you feel as if your property has been encroached upon. And clearly, had it been encroached upon, she knew she had to move it. She moved it. You want to do a survey, second survey? She asked for it. Somebody evidently said, do it. Did you go to the town?
No, ma'am.
Were you involved with the town? At all? Were you involved with any authority?
No. It's just when she...
Usually is a legal term.
She said that my survey was wrong. She didn't agree with it, and so she went ahead and built a fence on it. After that, then I obtained a survey to show that she was wrong.
Okay. And you fixed it because she...
Well, I actually never knew she had a survey in the beginning. I had got my own survey.
I don't care. You want to tell me about the trees now?
Yeah, and I don't...
You want to tell me about the trees?
Yes, ma'am. I have trees on the other side of my property, and when I was trying to build my fence... That's when the issue became over my property line. I already have evidence here. I spoke with the HOA and got approval for this fence before I even purchased my house.
I'm not concerned about the fence anymore. Now we're talking about your tree.
Okay, well, where the trees are at is where I tried to originally build my fence. The plaintiff was with my neighbor and telling my neighbors that those trees, per her survey, were not on my actual property line, that they were the neighbor's property.
That they were on whose property?
My neighbor's property.
Somebody else's property,
Correct.
not hers.
Correct. So she was informing them that they weren't. So
that they were not your trees to take down.
Correct. That they were the neighbor's
belonged
trees.
to some other neighbor.
Yes, ma'am.
Based upon her survey.
Yes, ma'am.
And
as I was trying to remove the trees, the plaintiff and the neighbors got in the middle of where the tree company was there trying to remove the trees.
And
they could not remove all the trees. They stood in the way of their work.
Okay. Because according to her survey...
Correct. They were not per the survey.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else?
I do have a video showing where they were trying to get in the way of the fence and everything being built.
I don't care.
Okay.
My sense is that these people are not erratic nuts. That there was a legitimate belief that those are not your trees to cut down. And I assume that you eventually cut down the trees.
Most of them, there's still half there. I couldn't finish the work. I paid a tree company.
So that you did not cut down the trees.
Only half of them.
That are contested. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You did not cut down the trees that are contested. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right. I don't see any major damage there, actually, as a result of any fence. I can't tell whether that was done before, after, whether it was cut. I don't see any major damage, and certainly the fence is certainly upright. And you have no case on a counterclaim. We're done. If you can't live together in these terrible times, if this is what is occupying your time, a foot, a tree, a half a foot, a foot post, then I think that you probably both need to be on some serious medication. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If she would have just came to us and spoke to us first without doing it vindictively behind our back,
They harassed me for a really long time. I finally built my fence between us.
it probably would have been solved outside of court. The neighbors we're all on our side.
They're welcoming me there, so.
I kind of feel bad because they all kind of took our side. And
Know your rights, and when you deal with crazy people, just don't stop.
she's kind of out in the cold there, but wrong is wrong.
Yeah, stick up for your rights.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lacey versus Coleman. Step forward.
Gordon Lacey is suing Scott Coleman for the return of a trailer.
Mr. Lacey, let me try to understand what happened. You had a trailer. Do you have a picture of that trailer?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it. And the trailer was stolen on what date?
It was over the weekend of August 2015.
Where had it been parked, sir?
It was at my warehouse.
This is the trailer?
That's a building that was at the place that fabricated it for me to meet my needs.
No, I'm just asking you, to me, a trailer is a different thing. So this just carries something.
Yes.
You used it to transport things.
Transport a tow motor, yes, ma'am.
Okay. It was stolen from your warehouse in August of 2015. And when did you report it stolen?
Reported it stolen the 24th. That was a Monday.
In August?
In August, yes, ma'am.
Reported? No, you have the police report.
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He pulled up next to you. I assume he said something like, "That's my trailer."
Yeah, he just asked me to pull into a gas station.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with the plaintiff when he pulled into the gas station.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gordon Lacey is accusing Scott Coleman of possessing a trailer that belongs to him.
Okay. Subsequently, who saw a trailer that you thought was yours?
I did.
When?
October 9th, around 8:45 in the morning.
Where did you see it?
I was at a red light, stopped at a red light, and the trailer had pulled up beside me.
And who was driving it?
Two men.
Was this one of the gentlemen?
He was one of them that was in the van. I'm not sure who was driving, but the
whatever
man
he was driving was pulling the trailer.
Pulling the trailer, yes, ma'am.
Could you stand up for me? Tell me your name, please.
Jeff Nyheisel.
Who do you work for, sir?
I work for Scott.
And what kind of business is that?
We do docks and doors, welding, plant maintenance.
How long have you worked for him?
Around 10 years.
Are you the only employee?
No, there's 6 or 7 guys, I believe.
Who work full-time. So it's a substantial business. And like, that's my trailer.
Yeah, he just asked me to pull into a gas station, and I did. And he said that that was his trailer. And, you know, when I'd pull a trailer, they just told me to hook to a trailer, and I hooked to the trailer. So that's just what I had that day.
And how many trailers does your boss have?
7 or 8, I'd say.
And when we're saying trailers that look like this, that you just put something on and you move machinery on it.
Right.
So he has 7 or 8 of those.
Yes.
Does one trailer to you look pretty much like another?
They look a lot alike. Yeah, they look a lot alike.
I mean, are they different size trailers?
Yeah, they'll pull different weights or different types of vehicles or whatever.
Do you know for sure, sir, whether or not you had ever used this particular trailer to load things and haul them before?
I have.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with the plaintiff when he pulled into the gas station.
He pulled me in there and he said that that was his trailer, and I just said, well, you know, this is our company's trailer. And he called the police, and I stayed there, and they showed up, and pretty much there was no way of actually at the scene deciding whose trailer this was. Because I just work for him. So I'm just pulling the trailer. So pretty much.
That's all you know.
That's all I know.
And the trailer was confiscated?
Correct.
Subsequently, you got the trailer back?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you brought proof to me, but I assume you also brought proof
This
of
is
ownership.
the same thing I showed the police.
Well, this shows that you bought a trailer in 2012.
That's correct.
Well before
Yes, ma'am.
his trailer was stolen, but this trailer has a different serial number.
Here's the serial number that's on the plate.
May I see it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What I'm saying is that's a Corn Pro trailer, and this was not a Corn Pro trailer. It was a homemade trailer. So where he got this is beyond me.
Come off the trailer I purchased.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gordon Lacey is accusing Scott Kuhlman of possessing a trailer that belongs to him.
What do you mean the serial number on the plate?
There's a VIN number, I believe. That's like an ID plate that's on the trailer.
Would you have him show me what that is? Is that this ST number?
I don't know.
ST225, this number right here?
It should be like the VIN number, maybe. I don't know. It should say CP something, I thought.
Made reference to?
It's this number up here.
Which one? Oh, this.
Barely see that one right there.
Oh, I see. Mr. Kuhlman,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
see what you've circled here. It looks as if it's been rubbed out, but the numbers, these are the VIN numbers that are on the trailer.
Correct.
Have you seen this, sir?
No, ma'am.
Well, I'd like to show it to you. And I want you to look at the VIN number on the trailer and compare it to the purchase date and the certificate of registration that he has from, he said he purchased it in 2012. Take a look. See where the numbers are
Yes, ma'am.
light?
Yes, ma'am.
The same.
I have no idea. I mean,
Well,
what I'm saying is that's a Corn Pro trailer, and this was not a Corn Pro trailer. It was a homemade trailer. So where he got this is beyond me.
Come off the trailer I purchased.
That we're speaking of. This is a totally different trailer than this. You have 7 or 8 trailers, so it could be one of his trailers. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not the trailer in question.
What they did is when they released the trailer to them, they looked on the trailer, and this was on the trailer.
No, ma'am, it wasn't. Not on my trailer.
Well, but it was on his trailer.
Yes, ma'am, it is, with the
and
license
he didn't
plate.
put it on the trailer. Listen to me. He didn't put this on the trailer, sir. It was there the day it was confiscated.
No, ma'am.
Well, it was, sir.
The
Because
police couldn't find it. That was a whole issue. That's why they confiscated the trailer, because there was no identification.
That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
That's not what I know from any report. Do you have a report that says that the reason they confiscated the trailer is because there was no identification on it? Do you have a report that says that?
Not a report. That's what the police officer said.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook.
Case is dismissed, sir. The proof that he served me was perfectly satisfactory to me to demonstrate that I cannot make a determination by the required quantum of proof here that this man either bought stolen property or is responsible for stealing your trailer. The VIN number that was attached to the trailer, albeit scratched out, albeit somebody tried to get the black number off it, but if you look at it, it is totally consistent with this document, which shows that it was purchased in 2012 by his company. By the way, if it was stolen from you, was it insured?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
It just wasn't. It just wasn't. I have 2 or 3 trailers, and
You
only
have
one
how
is.
many?
Three. I have 3 trailers.
What do you use your 3 trailers for?
One's a box trailer, one is a high, heavy equipment trailer, and this one was for hauling my forklift. Sole purpose I bought it was to haul my forklift.
Forklifts, which means you have a business.
Yes, ma'am. I buy and sell restaurants.
So, which means you have a business. And is what you're telling me that your business does not have insurance that covers stolen property?
Not the trailers. My vehicles, my trucks, it does. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think that you should seriously consider it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I saw it. I built the trailer. It was custom made, and it pulled up beside me at the light, and that's my trailer.
I bought the trailer in 2012. I had the right documentation.
Whatever he showed the judge was something that totally bogus.
Police released it. The judge obviously seen that. She made the right decision as well.
Lie, lie, lies. All the guy said was lies.
Pretty frustrating over the last couple months.
Somebody in the neighborhood stole it. Wasn't locked up.
Keep it locked up. I've had them stolen too.
Lock it up.
It happens all the time.
A horse and carriage ride after this ride's fairy tale wedding.
So you were surprised when you came out of the ceremony?
Yes. I did tell the kids they had a 1-hour carriage ride. Put your feet up and relax.
But the magic ended too quickly.
You only kept them out for 35 minutes.
We also figured into that we would be doing photos.
The driver asked if anybody had a cell phone to take pictures with.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Mapped for the cost of a carriage ride as part of her daughter's wedding.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 202 on the calendar, the matter Paul versus Block.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Block, you hired the defendants who have a horse and carriage for your daughter's wedding.
Correct.
And the arrangement was you were going to pay them a certain amount of money to ride your daughter and her fiancé around and take photographs before they reached the place where either the wedding or the reception was supposed to take place.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was the wedding?
August 13th, 2016.
It is your claim that they didn't perform that service satisfactorily and you didn't get your money's worth. You want your money back, plus, whatever. Anyway, how much did you pay them?
$650 for 1 hour.
And the hour was supposed to start when?
At 4:30 and end at 5:30.
Where were they supposed to pick your daughter up from?
After the ceremony, we had the ceremony at Pioneer Park, and they were supposed to deliver them to the reception hall approximately 3 blocks away, but the ride was going to go further.
You're the bride?
Yes.
Could you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Paul. Paul is my maiden name. Married name is Johnson.
Okay. Miss Johnson, you had...
It started at 3:30 p.m. on August 13th.
And when was it over?
It was over roughly about 4 o'clock to 4:15.
What time did the carriage arrive?
The carriage arrived around 4:30.
As contracted for?
Yes.
And what time did you depart the carriage?
We departed from Pioneer Park at 4:36 p.m.
And what time did you get to the reception?
We got to the reception hall at 5 after 5.
Did you have a conversation with the defendants about where the ride should be taking you?
No, my mom and dad surprised me with it.
So you were surprised when you came out of the ceremony?
Yes.
I said, nice. Was the day nice?
It was very beautiful.
Did you take any pictures?
Yes, we have some pictures.
I'd like to see them.
Here's arrival at Dolo Park, and I have some professional pictures as they left Pioneer Park if you want those.
I'd like to take a look at those too.
Here's 3. And yeah.
Did you have a written contract with the defendants?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Here's this, and I put a note at the top because we weren't sure of the ceremony time.
No, you don't put any note on the top.
Okay.
If you had a contract, that's what the contract is. Who prepared this contract?
I did, Your Honor.
So I'm not looking at any of this. Okay. You have to understand that because this says the contract terms say any change in the contract has to be in writing and signed by both parties. You added this When?
Prior to signing it.
Oh, okay. Is that correct? Prior to signing it, she says paid by check, and this may change to 4:30 to 5:30. Need to finalize the ceremony time. I assume that was before this was signed because you did, in fact, pick them up at 4:30, despite the fact that your contract says from 5 to 6.
We try to be accommodating.
No, that's not what I said.
I'm sorry?
What I said was the plaintiff says that she added this, that the contract time could change before she signed it. And that would seem to be correct because you wrote from 5 to 6, and actually you picked them up at 4:30.
Right.
Okay. So what you're saying is they only provided half of the service.
Correct.
And when you were dropped off, you didn't know what the circumstances were of the hour that your mother had contracted.
No, because it was a surprise.
05.
Yes.
Ball is in your court. Who was the driver? And? Go ahead.
We did indeed pick them up at the park.
Pick them up on time. That's not the issue.
And there were photographs taken there. And I made note of the photographers, and they went around the carriages and took professional photos. And then we traveled that route as opposed to a straight direct route because there's a pretty big hill, so we didn't want the horse to slip. Plus, it would give them a longer ride.
No, they contracted for an hour, but you only kept them out for 35 minutes.
In that hour, we also figured into that we would be doing photos. So we figured we would be held up at the bridge and the gazebo so that we would be well within our time and probably over because sometimes the photographers...
But what I'm saying is they paid for an hour. They didn't get an hour's worth of ride.
We got to the inn sometime after 5. They have a picture that documents it as 5:07. They took some other photos, and then the bride and the groom... Well, we expected. I left the gazebo because I found no photographers there at all. So we left the gazebo and went up the hill, and I thought, well, maybe the photographers are up there because we've done lots of weddings where the photographer's going to be there, and they haven't been. So as I was looking for the photographers and didn't see them, I couldn't stop and wait because it's very busy down there on that walkway, and I didn't want to hold up any traffic. There's children, there's dogs, and I wanted to keep the horse moving. So then when
I'm just asking you this question. You're getting... When you dropped off the bride and groom in front of the reception area, and where was that?
The Lowell Inn in Stillwater, Minnesota.
At the inn, did you say to them, you can have this carriage ride for another 25 minutes if you like?
I was hoping that the photographers would come out, and then I figured the time would be used up with the photographers taking pictures there. Someone jumped out of the carriage. They were going to go in and check and find the photographers and bring them back out so that we could have... It's a beautiful inn, and it would make for great photos. So we stopped, and he hopped out. He was going to go get somebody.
Oh, the groom?
It wasn't the groom. It wasn't the groom.
Who went in to look for the photographer?
Nobody did, Your Honor. The only thing that happened was when we pulled up to the Lowell Inn, the reception hall, nobody was there. And the driver asked if anybody had a cell phone, husband, to pull out his cell phone picture, or his cell phone, and gave it to the best man, who was his brother. The best man got out and took pictures of the pictures we gave you.
Were you expecting a photographer to be there?
I did not know any of this because it was a surprise.
Well, were you there?
I was not there, but I sent the photographers to the bridge, and I had told them the day before the photographers would be on the bridge, and they were on the bridge at 5.
Your problem, Miss Paul, is that I don't think that these people cheated you. I don't think that, A, the communication that you made to your daughter was nil because it was a surprise.
Correct.
And you weren't there to let everybody know what was going on. And it does not require pictures on the bridge, by the way, your contract. All it says is that they are to provide carriage services for 1 hour. And they could have sat in front of the inn. Did you go into the inn at some point?
Yes.
At what time did you go into the inn?
10 after 5, we went in.
Okay, so then you left the carriage outside.
Yes.
So at 10 after 5, you went into the inn with now your husband.
Yes.
Well, what did you want them to do?
Well, the ride, okay, so I had all of our guests up at Pioneer Park, and we started walking down to the inn, because, again, it was just approximately 3 blocks away. I actually, myself, none of us saw the carriage at all. It was gone. Well, it wasn't there. But they were supposed to get an hour ride and be delivered at 5:30. We had guests arriving at 5:10 to 5:30.
It wasn't communicated to your daughter. She went inside. She left the carriage. She left. Her father could have said, listen, we have the carriage until 5:30. Let's wait until 5:30. Take some pictures. We'll find the photographer. Somebody should have been there to coordinate it.
When the carriage left, I did tell the kids they had a 1-hour carriage ride. Put your feet up and relax.
Well, that's just a second. Great. But they left the carriage.
Well, they weren't watching the clock, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm not watching the clock either. You have no case. And nice pictures. Are you happily married?
Yes, I am.
Good for you. Case is dismissed. We're done.
Are you excused? You may step out.
I went over everything with the carriage people the day before.
Yeah, back and forth about just, I didn't get what I wanted.
I told them the timeline. I told them where the photographers were.
And she kept going back to the photographers, and I'm like, I don't control the photographers.
And they just made the ride last 35 minutes and totally wrecked the whole timeline.
And she didn't want to tell her daughter. She certainly could have told somebody else that was in the carriage.
I was shocked. I really was. It wrecked the evening for me.
That wouldn't have let it go, that it was a surprise.
It really did. And I did not tell her anything until the next day because I didn't want her.
All parties in the matter of Logan versus Daniels. Step forward.
Cheryl Logan is suing her former landlord, Robin Daniels, for moving costs, a false restraining order, and harassment.
Miss Logan, Miss Daniels was your landlady?
Yes, she was, ma'am.
You moved?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
And now you're suing her for several things. The costs of your moving, because you say she was a terrible landlord.
Yes.
She filed a false restraining order against you.
That's true, Your Honor.
So she said you were a miserable tenant, although at first blush looked okay. She said she filed a restraining order because you threatened her on Facebook.
Yes.
That's what you say in your answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She went and she found what appears to be a fabulous house that she seems to love at half the rent. So everybody should be happy. Now, I want you to tell me why and when you filed the restraining order.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cheryl Logan is suing her former landlord, Robin Daniels, for moving costs, a false restraining order, and harassment.
Now, when did you move in?
I moved in January of 2014.
When did you move out?
February the 29th of 2014. Correct.
What was the rent?
The rent was $697 a month.
Did you pay the rent or was it Section 8 housing?
Section 8 housing.
So they paid the rent?
They paid the portion of theirs. And
what was your portion?
My portion was $697.
And there's no indication here that that rent wasn't paid. So that was paid during the term of the lease?
She paid it. Some days, some months she was late. But she paid it, yes.
Okay. Now, you moved out in February of 2016. Where did you move to?
I moved to Palmdale, California.
Where was the prior residence?
Palmdale, California.
So you moved within the same town?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the place that you moved into.
I moved into a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house. A beautiful, nice home. It's over 3,900 square feet. Front yard, backyard. It's real nice.
And when did you move into that house?
February the 29th.
Just the same date as you moved out?
Yes.
And what's the rent there?
My rent there now is $385.
So let me understand this. What you did is you moved out and you moved into this new 5-bedroom, 3-bath home that's gorgeous, and you're paying half the rent.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was no dislocation between moving out of the prior residence and moving into this residence. Now, what moving costs would you like her to pay?
Well, actually, I didn't have any money to move. It was at the end of, like, the first of the year, I didn't have any money to...
So what are you suing her for?
My moving costs of my money. For me to move.
Forget it. What's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
Well, she filed a fake restraining order on me.
That I'll hear.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when did you file a restraining order against her?
I filed in February, the same month she was about to move out. February is 15, 16, somewhere up in there.
And she had given you notice that she was moving?
No, I gave her a 60-day notice for her to move. I took it to Section 8, and they signed the papers, and she had to move February the 20-something. I got tired of her harassment on...
Whatever. You gave her a notice to leave, and it was fine. She went and she found what appears to be a fabulous house that she seems to love at half the rent. So everybody should be happy. Now, I want you to tell me why you filed the restraining order. You filed it in February. Now you're going to tell me why.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Read to me what you say is a threat. It's nasty. There's no question it's nasty. That's what people do on the internet. They have nothing else to do. They should all have very busy jobs and lives. But I want you to read to me what you say is a threat.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cheryl Logan has accused former landlord Robin Daniels of owing for moving costs, a restraining order, and harassment.
Now, I was restraining.
I filed it because she kept calling people saying I'm doing this and doing that, which it was about a leak.
I don't know. I don't understand what that means.
She called building safety, Palmdale Building Safety, about a leak in the ceiling. I went out.
So just a second. So she would call authorities, housing-type authorities, to complain about your residence?
Yes. And my house also is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, too.
Nice. She likes this one better and it's less money.
No, otherwise it's less money because she had more people in her house when she was at my residence. So if you have
How many people were at the house?
She had her daughter and her granddaughter living there at the time. And
So
the
there was
rest of her
another
kids.
family?
Yes. So when they there, their rent is up because of the income. When you have less people and less income, your income go down.
Okay. I'd like to see the paper that you filed for a protective order, and I'd like to see the threat that she made to you that you say caused you to file the restraining order, because calling building safety codes is not a reason to file a protective order. So I want to see what you filed.
Well, that ain't the only one she called. She called...
I don't care who she called. This is a free country. She can call whoever she wants to call. I want to see the threat that you say she made on Facebook, and I want to see what you filed. What are you showing me? I want you to read to me what you say is a threat. Read to me what you say is a threat. It's nasty. There's no question it's nasty. That's what people do on the internet. They have nothing else to do. They should all have very busy jobs and lives, and then they wouldn't have so much time to spend so much nasty time on the internet. But I want you to read to me what you say is a threat.
I mean, she's saying she go hit me where it really hurt more than me. I mean, I don't know what that means when she said she gonna hit me more. And then she's saying that, oh, I'm gonna get your license where you can't rent to no one, you gonna lose everything. So I'm not knowing what it is, and I took it as a threat to me. I mean, harassment. I mean, she got my kid's name all on the internet. I mean...
Where did she threaten to beat the hell out of you? I want to see that.
Well, it says...
Just a sec. Just say, where does it say? Read it to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, read it to me.
I'm going to hit her where it's going to hurt her.
You could say that that was hitting you physically, because if you go on, she's really talking about taking away your livelihood in your pocketbook. But I suppose you could. I want you to say, this is a quote that you wrote in your papers for a protective order. Beat the hell out of me. Did she ever say that?
Oh, let me see what this one is.
No, I don't see that either.
I never said that, Your Honor.
I don't know, is it in a text or on a picture, but I don't have it.
I never said it.
Okay.
Never.
And tell me what happened with the protective order.
It was dismissed, Your Honor. It was dismissed. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
It was more of she stay away from me, I stay away from her. She can't put nothing on Facebook.
I'd like to see it.
She can't put nothing on Facebook about anything.
So you both went to see a judge?
We went to saw the judge. The judge went.
Or does it go to
You went to a mediation?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh. Oh, fine. That's good. That makes my job so much easier. Oh, this is great. So that each of you agreed to stay away from the other not to contact each other's families on social media, Facebook. Right. This case went through mediation.
Right, it did.
Went through mediation.
Yes.
Very good. Your case is dismissed. You have no case. We're done. Thank you.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She's just a conniving, miserable woman.
Because I got tired of her with all this nonsense.
I mean, I left your house, you lied and restrained, or you tried to decharacterize me as being a game maker, which I'm not.
Calling different people over a piece of mail. This all started over a piece of mail.
Because the mediator saw it was all kind of loopholes in there. You didn't have a story, you didn't have no evidence. It's done.
All I told her, just give me my mail, because I had just moved out the house, and she had a problem with that.
Well, yeah, we were doing fine up until everything in the house started getting broke.
The leak in the ceiling, and I came out to have someone to fix it.
I complained about her getting fixed. She didn't want to get it fixed. She didn't want to spend no money.
My home warranty insurance come out. They didn't see nothing wrong, so they said nothing they can do.
Then I had to call the officials on her. That's it. I mean, I'm paying too much rent.
She called the Palmdale City.
Yeah, she called officials on me. She called DCFS on me. She called the police on me.
She just called everybody just to get my license taken because she's jealous.
My life was a living hell. I'm glad I'm out of there. I have to deal with her no more, never in life. Thank God.
Yes, I am. Ooh, I don't got to deal with her no more.
I've been running a golf tournament 35 years.
I would assume that you love the game of golf.
Yes. A retiree hit the links for a good cause.
You won $400 because it's really all about the charity, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
He's teeing off on the organizers.
You want more money.
Yes, Your Honor.
You do understand that I'm not sympathetic with you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
John Yanaskewicz is suing Cheryl Lindsay for unpaid prize money from a golf tournament.
Order. All rise. It's case number 214 on the calendar in the matter of Yanaskewicz versus Lindsay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Yanaskewicz, what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a retired postal worker.
And I would assume that you love the game of golf.
Yes.
You have a dispute with Miss Lindsay, who has a restaurant or a bar.
Restaurant, full service restaurant.
And annually, Miss Lindsay runs a contest at her restaurant.
Yes.
Which is one of your favorite restaurants, and it's a golf contest. Yes. I assume it's designed to benefit a charity?
Yes, it is.
Which charity?
For a young woman or man going to college to major in special needs. It's a $5,000 scholarship for them to help them with their education. I've been running a golf tournament 35 years.
How are the funds raised? Do people pay an entrance fee
yes,
to play?
Yes, I have the golfer registration.
I'd like to see it.
See that? Oh, sorry.
So you pay $100 to register for this tournament.
For myself, I also paid for 4 other players.
What is the prize at the end of the tournament for the winning? Is it a foursome?
We had a 5-some, Your Honor.
A 5-some. Okay. What's the prize?
The prize we received in an envelope was $400.
Now, does it say anywhere what the prize will be? Is it advertised where the prize will be?
No.
So you don't know when you register whether the prize will be $400 or $300 or $600. You have no idea what it is.
No.
Do you make that prize according to how many people come?
Yes, it is. Okay. My witness can actually, I don't golf, and I don't really understand a lot of the golf lingo, but my witness, John, can attest to how that's broken
what
down.
I want to know is, usually if you enter a golf tournament,
right,
there is a prize at the end of that tournament, even if you are raising money for what the prize will be.
Again, I don't want to say something I don't really understand. Can John explain that
Do you understand?
I do, Your Honor.
But could you stand up and tell me? Tell me your last name, sir.
McLaughlin, John McLaughlin.
Do you work at the restaurant?
No, Your Honor.
You're a golfer?
I'm a golfer and I volunteer at the restaurant for this particular golf tournament.
It's for charity?
For charity.
Now, is this a fund where you put the money because the checks are made payable to Lindsay's restaurant?
Yes, I have a nonprofit. I have an ID number if you'd like to see that.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. And also there's a breakdown of the costs for the tournament, what we took in, and where the money goes to.
Okay, fine. Okay, so you don't donate the meal at the restaurant. You charge, paid out, $2,430 for dinner at the restaurant. There's 130 lunch coolers with logo.
Right.
And then there's food, prime rib seafood medley, $24.30. So
Right.
I'm just asking, you don't donate the food? Because I see there is labor here, and the labor, waiters, waitresses, they may not donate the time. I'm just asking you. That's the answer to the question is
Yes.
you don't
Yes,
donate
you're right.
the food.
You're right. You're right, Your Honor.
Okay, so you took in about $12,500 and ship, which was $5,000.
Right.
You paid out $13,000.
Right.
But that took into account your $24.30 for food.
Yes.
So you made your $5,000 for the charity.
Yes.
Which you did, in fact, donate.
Yes.
Fine. And you won $400 because you and your friends came in first place.
That is correct.
But you had no prior knowledge that that was going to be the prize because there's nothing written anywhere
That's
on the
correct.
flyer. Okay, now, you want more money.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain it to me.
On June 6th, we played in the tournament.
You won first place. Why do you want more money?
It was a skin pool put on by John.
By you?
Correct.
Okay. So, in addition to the other prizes here, there's a skinned pool.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see if that's here. 50-50 raffle, closest to the hole, longest drive, food. There's nothing here about skin pool.
I believe it's on there.
Well, only because it says first prize winner, and somebody wrote in winner 300, skins 100, which is $400. Okay. Explain to me what you put on, John, with regard to the skins game.
Okay, Your Honor. What happens is the day of the tournament, we try to collect $20 per group. That goes into a separate kitty for the skins pools. That brings us to $300. So that goes into a separate envelope for skins. Then we match the $300 for the winner. No one knows what the winner's going to get because we don't know what we're going to collect for that day. The $300 that we bring in has nothing to do with the $300 we pay out. The $300 is separate for skins. Now, the way, I'm not sure if you know how skins work, but the way the skins work is that, like, for instance, on a par 3, if the team gets a par 2, they get 1 point. However, if another team matches that, it's blocked out. 2-tie, all-tie. We go through all the cards, right through all 18. What happened on June 6th was that the plaintiff's team won 1 skin, another team won 1 skin, and another team won 1 skin. So you have 300 divided by 3. Each of them got 100. The other 2 teams donated the money back to the scholarship. The plaintiff got 300 for winning and 100 for the skin pool.
Did you win last year?
Yes, Your Honor, we did win last year.
And how much did you win?
$400.
So your question is, why didn't I win $400 again, plus the $100?
I believe there was more money in the skin pool.
Can you prove that to me?
I approached John at the restaurant.
No. Can you prove that to me?
No, I cannot.
Okay, so the answer is no.
Right.
That's what he said was there. I mean, actually, it's really all about the charity, isn't it?
Yes, it is,
That's why
Your
you're playing.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And at best, if last year the first prize was $400 and you won, but that's not written anywhere. And this year you got $400, but you also got $100 for skins, which you had to share with 3 other people, and you don't have any proof that that's not true. The difference that we're talking about is $100. So I don't actually understand why you're here.
I'm here because after the event, first place envelope, $400, nothing was mentioned at the skin pool at the restaurant, period. Nothing. He told us that we won the whole skin pool. No other teams won the skin pool.
What other teams won the skin pool?
The Gendron team and the Driscoll team. And I did tell John that the cards were laid out in the dining room, and we can go over them if you want. And he decided to leave because I had one guy check them, and I rechecked them to make sure they were accurate before we announced the winners were. And that's what it came down to.
And you volunteer your time for
Yes.
this event?
Yes.
Is that what kind of work do you do?
I'm a real estate developer. I have a law degree. I do zoning and land use.
You do understand that I'm not sympathetic with you.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Everybody comes to the event with the purpose of playing a game of golf for a good cause and having a great day.
Yes.
And all it friends was $100.
And later today,
The objective data is your 54-year-old son, who you were leaving in a responsible position to take care of your 4 dogs and 1 cat, saw this man come in. He contained the dogs, but he didn't think to contain the cat.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
John Yanuskiewicz has accused Cheryl Lindsay of failing to pay prize money from a charity golf tournament.
Okay. You do understand that you have no proof that, first of all, there's no promise to pay a certain amount of money anywhere. The only evidence that you had was last year you won first place and you got $400. Well, I don't know how many people participated last year. This year, there were 81 players at $100 each. And then there was money for sponsors, $1,900. What I assume is everybody comes to the event with the purpose of playing a game of golf for a good cause and having a great day.
Yes.
And all it cost you to treat your friends was $100, because if you put the envelope in your pocket and you had already paid for your friends, then all this great day cost you. Did you pay extra for dinner?
No.
All 5 friends had dinner?
4 friends.
4 friends. And you had prime rib and seafood, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you pay an additional green fee?
No.
So your $100 bought you a dinner and green fees.
That's correct.
And lunch coolers. Did you get a lunch cooler?
I don't remember that.
With a logo? What is that?
It's a lunch cooler, and we put water in it and some snacks so when they're out golfing.
So the 4 players that you brought along all got one of those? Yes. Right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Certified letters I sent to the restaurant. I got no response.
He sent it, but it had been discussed with him, so I didn't respond.
I've been thrown out of the restaurant.
I just don't want that kind of person around in my restaurant.
Don't get in the skin pool.
He absolutely missed the spirit of what the charity event's for.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nguyen versus Russell. Step forward.
Flooring contractor Nen Nguyen is suing his former client, Terry Russell, for unpaid labor and materials.
You did some work for the defendant, staining her floors.
Yes, I did.
And she didn't pay you when you were finished with the job.
Correct, yes.
That's what you're suing her for, your
Yes.
compensation. As how much was the whole job?
The whole job was $9,080.
And how many rooms did you do? How many floors?
We did an existing floor, 450 square feet of the existing floor for her, and I put in a new kitchen floor for her.
And how much did she pay you? Did she give you a deposit?
She didn't give me any deposit or anything.
You bought the materials first? Had you ever done work for her before?
I recently did the same house for her about a year ago.
And she came back to you?
She came back to me because we did a good job, and she
Okay, so
requested-
that's why you didn't take a deposit from her for this,
Yes.
for this job?
Right.
Okay. Who do you live with in this house?
Myself and my 4 dogs and a cat.
You have a son?
Yes, I do.
How old is he?
He is 54.
Where does he live?
He lives in South Sacramento.
And where do you live?
I live in Rockland, California.
How far away is that?
They're about 35 miles.
You were away when Mr. Nguyen came back to complete the floors. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen doesn't have a key to your house.
Yes, he did have a key to the house.
He had a key. Did you use the key to get into the house, Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, I did.
On what date?
Around August 15th, I believe.
Okay, and that was the arrangement, that you were going to come in and finish the floors? Was that the arrangement?
Talk of a roughly date that she was going to be out of town for me to come by and complete the floor.
So she was going to be away from what days to what days? Do you recall?
I'm not sure exactly the date.
Well, I want you to get to know exactly the date. That's why you're here. It's your business. This is a
Right.
business that you have. Because bottom line, she says that you did do the floors, but you didn't contain the cat, her cat. Her cat was out. Her cat got out and damaged all the floors that you did by leaving paw prints all over, which meant that once it dried, the floors would have to be stripped down again and redone. So that's why we're here. She has a ridiculous counterclaim, which is because of your negligence, the cat got out and ruined her couch.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You put the cat in the laundry room with the cat litter, water, food, period. Is this the first time your son took care of your animals?
Yes, it is.
You must have had tremendous confidence in him if you left him for 3 weeks. So he didn't use his noodle. Not him. Your son didn't use his brains.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Flooring contractor Nen Nguyen says former client Terry Russell owes for work he completed on her home and poor workmanship.
Okay, the dates are important, Mr. Nguyen.
Yes.
She has 4 dogs and a cat. She clearly took care of the dogs, but there was a cat that was left home to fend for itself, which somebody had to take care of so that the cat wouldn't step all over everything. Do you understand?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And she told you about that?
She never told me about that. She told me that she was going to be out on those days and that she would be...
What days?
I believe was the 23rd that she was going to be out of town. We were just, that there would be a good time for me to come by and finish the floor.
Is that the date that you came in?
Yes.
On the 23rd?
I believe so.
Do you remember what day he came in, Miss Russell?
August 16th.
Were you out of town?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so maybe he has the dates wrong. Who was taking care of your dogs?
My son was staying there taking care of the animals.
And how long had your son been staying there?
For about 3 weeks.
Did you contact her son?
When I got there, her son was there. The entranceway to...
So he was there when...
Yes.
So you used your key.
Yes.
Opened it up. Son was there. Were the dogs there?
Yes.
Interesting. Did you have a discussion with him?
Yes, I did.
Did you tell him what you were going to be doing?
Yes, we did. By a gate, they were all contained with the gate.
Who put the dogs in that area?
When I got there, it was there already. It was in the main living room.
So
there.
the dogs were already contained?
Yes.
When you did your work, did the dogs remain in the house contained in that spot?
Yes.
So clearly your son had put the dogs in the contained area.
No, I contained the dogs before I went.
Is what you're telling me your son didn't take the dogs out for 3 weeks?
No, he took them out, but
well,
he put them back in the contained area.
That's exactly what I'm saying to you. So on the date that he came and spoke to your son, your 54-year-old son, that he's not damaged, is he, in any way, mentally? No. So he knew that he was coming in to stain the floors. And I'm sure he had walked the dogs that day. The night before he had walked the dogs, because he was staying at your house, you said, for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So he knew where they were coming. And I assume he also feeds the cat.
Yes, he does.
And changes the cat litter.
Yes.
Great. So that he knew there was a cat there.
Yes.
So he contains the dogs.
Yes.
Because he knows he's coming. Your son contains the dogs, but clearly did not contain the cat.
My son claims that he did not speak with Mr. Nguyen on that day.
Then you should have brought your son. Who did you bring with you?
My sister.
Well, what did you bring your sister for instead of bringing your son? Your son can tell me what the conversation was. If data is your 54-year-old son, who you were leaving in a responsible position to take care of your 4 dogs and 1 cat, saw this man come in, he contained the dogs because he had to at some point have taken them out and put them back and realized that he had to keep them contained because he was coming to stain the floors. But he didn't think to contain the cat. Where do you keep the cat litter?
In the laundry room.
Good. So laundry room have a door?
Yes, it does.
Then you put the cat in the laundry room with the cat litter, water, food, period. That's what he knows that because he's been taking care of them for 3 weeks. Is this the first time your son took care of your animals?
Yes, it is.
Well, you must have had tremendous confidence in him if you left him for 3 weeks. So he didn't use his noodle. Not him. Your son didn't use his brains.
Yeah. Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
I was not informed of what Mr. Nguyen was going to do. I spoke with him on August 10th when he was at the house working on the floor. So I told him at that time, I said, remember I told you I'm going on vacation and I'm leaving next Saturday of what you're going to do. If I had known he was going to stain the floors, I believe it was my responsibility to board the cat, which I would have done. And he didn't keep me informed of what was going on or when things were going to happen.
Listen to me. You hired him and you gave him access to your house. You gave him access to your house, so clearly you look like a lady who likes to be in charge. If he was doing a shoddy job, you wouldn't have given him access to your house and a key to your house. That's how much you trusted him. You also gave your son the authority to do whatever was necessary in your home because you left him alone there for 3 weeks with your animals to take care of 4 dogs and 1 cat. And a 54-year-old man when he comes in and says, I'm going to finish the floors, he contains the dogs, and then he takes the cat and he puts the cat in the laundry room with a bowl of water and some Friskies and the cat litter, and he checks the floors, he checks the dogs, takes the dogs out. He's careful.
And
you have
again,
to pay.
my
You have to
son-
pay him. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Half my house was destroyed by cat prints.
In the middle of the job, the cat walked in. There was no stopping it.
He did not tell me he was going to stain the floors. Otherwise,
It's gone. It was a very nosy cat.
I thought that the bank was trying to cheat me or something.
Did you ask your mother about where the money was?
A daughter looks for her lifelong savings.
You closed this account shortly after it was opened?
I don't remember closing the account.
Now her mother goes under the microscope.
I also got several other places involved: the Better Business Bureau, the FDIC, the news.
It's a terrible thing for a child to allege that a parent is a thief.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ashley Cain is suing her mother, Susan Freeman, for stealing money from a CD.
Order. All rise. It's case number 210 on the calendar in the matter of Cain versus Freeman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Cain, this is your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that when you were 17, which was how long ago?
Roughly 10 years. 12 almost. Actually, sorry, 12.
When's your birthday?
4/28/87.
Okay. You opened up a CD, donor on the CD, because you were a minor. Where did you get that money from?
Well, I'd started working at, I believe, 16, my first job, and I'd been saving up money in my bedroom, and I had 12 $100 bills at one point, and they decided that I should put the money, my father, I believe, decided it's probably safer to put the money in the bank.
Are your parents still together?
Yes.
So you went to the bank?
Yes.
Who did you go with?
Just me and my mom.
And signed the papers and let the money sit there. When did you try to close out the CD?
Last year.
Was it a 10-year CD, or was it?
It was an 18-month flex in the paperwork, but it was supposed to be on automatic renewal. And last year, I went to take the money out whenever me and my husband got married last year and went to buy a home last September. And I've been looking for it since last September.
Did you ask your mother about where the money was?
Yeah, when I started looking for it and the bank said that they didn't have any information, I thought it was strange. I thought that the bank was trying to cheat me or something. And that's when I started asking for some help.
Who did you ask for help?
I asked several different places. I started first at the Texas Bank, and then I found out they actually sold the account in 06-07, and they sold
the account?
Or merged it, yes.
Oh, they merged banks?
Yes.
Not the account. They merged your bank.
They said that they transferred some of pursued them ever since, but I also got several other places involved: the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Better Business Bureau, the FDIC, the news, the Channel 5 News, and then I was finally told after a while that I wasn't even the legal owner and that they couldn't give me any more information.
Okay. Did you ultimately get information as to what happened with that account?
I did, about 4 months ago.
May I see it, please?
That's their statement.
Ms. Freeman, you closed this account shortly after it was opened?
Your Honor, I don't remember closing the account. But if I did it because she requested me to.
This is either you don't remember. That's not what you said in your answer, that you don't remember. The account was closed before its maturity. And is what you're telling me that you have no information about the account being closed?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
So, to the best of your recollection, you never took money out of this account?
Your Honor, I really don't remember if I closed the account or not. I mean, if I did, it was because she asked me to.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. It's not as if I did. this doesn't indicate who closed the account.
Well, that's when she originally asked with her CD, because I didn't remember closing the CD or taking the money out, and she doesn't remember it.
Do you have any proof that your mother closed this account?
I have emails from the news to the bank, because I had a lot of trouble communicating with the bank, and the news helped me out. I have information saying that I'm not the legal owner, and it was closed by the legal owner, and that there's only 2 people on the account.
Yeah, that's what she has.
The top are emails that the bank, the news sent me that were between my mom and the news, and then behind it is the ones from BBVA.
Just a second. Okay, so this is clear. The mother is saying exactly what she said to me. She said, here, she doesn't remember closing this account, and you don't remember closing the account. Now I'm going to read the rest. Well, this is just Miss Lane from the news speculating when she says this may be a family matter. It could also be a bank fraud matter. Possible, right?
Yeah, I believe that up until they sent me that purged document a few months back.
Well, you mean this one that you gave me already?
Uh-huh. The second page is the one that they said is the last final record they have of it, and it's because it was closed, and it's been 7 years since closure.
I understand. Ever taking money out of this bank for you? I just have a couple of questions for you, because I don't think that there's any proof that your mother closed this account any more than I think there's any proof that you closed the account and forgot, perhaps, 10 years ago. Just for my own information, you went to school, you went to college?
Mm-hmm.
Who paid for your college?
I did.
Okay, did your parents help you at all?
Not with college money. I got some grant for school. I went to a community...
I'm just asking you whether your parents helped you at all for college.
No, ma'am.
With living expenses or anything else? I'm just trying to understand what the family dynamic is that you would think that your mother purposely stole from you.
Well, I wanted to move out around 17. I wanted to, I guess, emancipate or move out, and I couldn't. They told me that I had to graduate. Well, I graduated at 18 pretty much within a few months,
so you
and I moved out immediately.
Just a second. You wanted to emancipate when you were 17. Why?
I just felt that I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things, and I think I just wanted to...
Like what?
Things you do in high school, hang out with friends and go to activities and things. I felt like I was a little sheltered, and I just wanted out. I was working. I had a vehicle. I wanted to live. And so we weren't getting along.
Did you have a boyfriend?
Yeah, probably. Off and on.
18.
Yes.
Now, when you left the house at 18, did you move into a place alone or with a boyfriend?
I moved in with a boyfriend in a roommate situation.
Okay, fine. Miss Kane, I would love to be able to help you, but I don't have enough evidence to suggest that your mother closed this account and the account contained money, according to you, that was your money gathered from your work. Now, she doesn't have any recollection of closing the account, and you don't have any recollection of closing the account at probably a volatile time in your life.
Yeah, I moved away and actually never came back to Crowley. I moved to Keller first and then on to some other areas.
But when you moved out when you turned 18, that was your plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was your plan to move in with your boyfriend.
I moved in with my grandmother for maybe a year or more before I moved in with him.
But that was your plan to leave the house.
Yes.
And you did know that you had the CD when you turned 18. So when you turned 18, you became a legal owner of the account. You were, in fact, a legal owner of the account. You were no longer a minor. You were a legal owner. So when they say that the account was closed, then the bank says that the account was closed by a legal owner, I don't know who that is. And you can't prove that it was your mom.
And only her name is on the closure document, and I was not even in town that date.
No, it's just a short... Her identification number is here. She may have been primary on the account. She may have been primary because you were a minor.
Right. And I heard it stays that way. I'm learning things as I was researching through the bank. If you don't change it, does it not just stay as a minor situation, or unless you go and have the bank
No, because they list your date of birth. They have your date of birth when you open up the CD. Anyway, Miss Kane, it's when what? Okay.
I just wanted to add that her mother...
You're her husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
She says she doesn't remember a lot, but yet in some of her replies, she's indicating that, well, it's possible I took it out to help you and so, but this, that. So it's very vivid, wording as to someone with no memory.
No, what she said is it's possible that 10 years ago, because she needed money for whatever, car insurance or whatever, I might have taken the money out. I don't remember whether I did or not. It's also possible that when your wife, Mr. Kane, wanted to emancipate herself when she was 17 and was forced to wait until she was 18 and still a kid, took what she could from the bank, and now she was 18 and she can take the money out of the bank as well, Kane, that when the bank merged with one bank for another and some of the accounts were sent someplace else, something happened with what we call sort of dead accounts that nobody's had any activity on for a while. The bottom line is courts can't guess when they call somebody, in effect, a thief. And I'm not prepared to do that without proof.
To our best understanding, even with her turning 18, she wasn't still allowed to take it out without the joint agreement. She was still nothing changed
Listen
after.
to me. What you're telling me now is information that you may or may not have garnered from third parties, which is hearsay, because you're not in the banking business, are you?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. And I would make this suggestion to you. I hope that you and your wife stay married for a very long time. But she only has one mother. She can have a whole lot of Mr. Kanes. And I suggest you keep out of it. Let her.
I fairly do.
You keep out of it and don't stoke it. Do you understand? I wouldn't stoke it because, I mean, it's a terrible thing for a child to allege that a parent is a thief. Stole my own money and I didn't know about it. That's a terrible thing. She may believe it. There's no proof of it. Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
And I worked for 4 years while I was going to school, and then I stopped, and then I went back to work.
Prior to this business with the CD, had you enjoyed a reasonable relationship with your daughter?
Yes. We were talking until she said she found out that my signature was on the closing papers, and...
Her signature's not on the closing papers.
They wouldn't give me any signatures because they said that they didn't have anything.
Just a second. That's the bank's problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
She was your girlfriend.
She was.
And she was ill.
Yep.
And you were taking care of her.
Yes.
And she was taking care of you when she was able. Because her defense to your action is that that's what people do when they're living together. Were you living together with her as a couple?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Kane says her mother, Susan Freeman, stole money she had invested in a CD.
That's the bank's problem. They may not have things because they were sloppy in the transfer. But if you had a reasonable relationship with your mom and you're married, you're almost 30 years old, right? I would not want to believe anything negative about my parent. I wouldn't. I can't suggest to you that you modified the way you're thinking. There is insufficient proof for me to find that your mother took the money out of the bank. Okay, we're done. Thank you.
Ladies, excuse me, step out.
It hurts. It hurts a lot. I have 4 daughters, and she's the oldest, and I've done everything I could for my children.
I didn't believe it. I still don't want to believe it.
And I'm still doing things for my children today, and I guess I'll continue.
I just wanted to know what happened to the account.
Oh, it's hurted a lot.
I still never found out what happened to my account.
I've done everything to help her up until then and since then, and I didn't deserve this.
Bank error is what it sounds like. Collect $200.
I hope she has a very happy marriage and
that we get along.
Time to move on.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Berenbaum versus Adams. Step forward.
Robert Berenbaum is suing his ex-girlfriend, Stacy Adams, for loans to put a down payment on a car and to pay for medical and living expenses.
Mr. Berenbaum, according to your complaint, Miss Adams was your girlfriend. She lived in your apartment, your house. Is it a house or an apartment?
House.
House. For a period of time, she's no longer your girlfriend, and you claim she owes you money for a car deposit and for some rent. Miss Adams says that there was a rental arrangement when she moved in, that she agreed to pay you.
That is correct.
$750 a month. You moved in December?
I moved in the end of November. December 1st was the first payment.
So December 1st, she gave you $750, correct?
It was $700.
Say $700. And you accepted the $700.
Yeah.
Great. And January, she also paid you $700.
I don't think so. She got sick in January.
Well, let me see. She moved in December. We agreed on $750 a month. That's what you say. Not long after she moved in, she ended up having some surgery. When was your surgery?
My first was emergency surgery. They had to remove my gallbladder and repair an internal hernia.
When?
It was January 15th.
So you didn't work in January?
I did not work for 8 weeks in January into February.
Okay, so did you pay January and February?
Yes, Your Honor.
From
I get paid every end of the month, so it's a month behind. So I paid December, January, and February. March, April, I did not pay.
And that's because you were out?
Yes, and I had
surgery.
2 surgeries in that time.
Okay, and you acknowledge that she had 2 surgeries?
Yeah, she did. But she didn't pay me what she claims. She only paid me twice for rent for December, and I have 1 check for February.
Okay, great.
Judge
with people who live together, and when things don't go right, the courts are going to occupy their time with litigation over vitamins. It's not going to happen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Robert Berenbaum says ex-girlfriend Stacey Adams owes for several loans.
Now, she was your girlfriend.
She was.
And she was ill.
Yep.
And that's why she wasn't working. Otherwise, she was working, right?
Correct.
And you were taking care of her.
Yes.
And she was taking care of you when she was able.
Yeah, when she was able.
Mm-hmm. And then there's some nonsense here about a down payment for a car. When was that?
It's not nonsense.
When
it was in, I think it was in December. No, actually, I can tell you the exact date. Actually, November 2nd, I helped her with the down payment. It was a loan.
November 2nd.
2015.
Mm-hmm. A year ago. Now, when she moved in December and she paid you, according to you, $700, did you ask her about the November loan?
Yeah, I asked. Yeah. She didn't get paid all summer because that's the way her work structured it.
Well, we're not talking about during the summer. We're talking November. November 2nd towards the down payment.
She only got paid monthly. She didn't have the funds. She said she'd pay me back when she could.
Okay. Well, she can't. Because her defense to your action of these rent payments after her surgery and this year-old $1,100 is that that's what people do when they're living together as a couple. Were you living together with her as a couple?
We were, but we had a rent agreement.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else you want to tell me?
Me in particular? Yeah,
just you. I'm not asking for any questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch of loans made during that time for living expenses. I have them all outlined here. She paid for the DMV for $650. I have like vitamins and Amazon for $418, surgery for $225.
Mr. Birnbaum, have you ever been married, sir?
I have.
And you divorced, I assume?
Yes.
You went to court? When you got divorced, did you go to court?
I did, but it wasn't. It was just I was just by myself.
It was an uncontested divorce?
Yeah.
Was that in what state?
Texas.
Did you have to divide property?
Mm-hmm.
And there were rules in Texas about dividing property with a spouse, I assume.
Yes.
Whatever they were. Either it's an equitable distribution or it's community property, whatever it was, you know what the parameters are. Do you understand? Unfortunately, housekeeping together. And we don't have courts that can indulge people who live together, and when things don't go right, the courts are going to occupy their time with litigation over vitamins. It's not going to happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, if things had worked out between the two of you, and she had her surgery, and then she went back to work, and then she could only work part-time, but everything was okay, we wouldn't be standing here. Things didn't work out, and all of a sudden, you and I are talking about vitamins.
I mean, she agreed to pay it all back. She wrote out the debt she owed me.
Good. Very good. Then she should absolutely pay that back. But we are in a court. We're done. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I moved in November. I agreed to pay him rent for my living, and that included utilities.
She started paying rent, and then she got sick, so
And when I got sick, I wasn't able to pay. Harassment. He was like a Jekyll and Hyde.
So I didn't get the impression that she was going to pay me back at any time soon.
There was a moment where he was nice and I'd help you, and the next moment it was like, hey, you get out of my house.
And I don't think she purposely took advantage of me, but she just didn't get a chance maybe to pay me back. I don't know if she was going to. I just felt like it was never going to happen.
Really understand who a person is before I start dating them and living with them.
I guess don't give people money for whatever reason.
I'm happy it's over.
You were doing some work for Mr. Hill in pool maintenance.
An employee drowning in controversy.
He had talked to my ex-wife. She told him that I had been stealing his customers.
But will his firing?
He wanted his keys. I said I want my check.
You were owed some money.
Yes.
Sink this business owner.
I gave him the check for $15.70 because he was holding the keys hostage.
I went to cash the check, and they had stopped payment on it.
I wouldn't push it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Pool technician David Ditzler is suing his former employer, John Hill, for unpaid wages.
Order. It's case number 191 on the calendar in the matter of Ditzler versus Hill.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Ditzler, you were doing some work for a period of time for Mr. Hill in pool maintenance.
Correct.
How many years did you work?
6 years.
Did you work for him as an independent contractor, or were you a paid employee?
Independent contractor.
Were you paid by check or cash?
Personal check.
What does that mean, personal check?
It wasn't a payroll check where he took taxes out.
File tax returns every year?
I did, yes.
Did you report all this money?
Yes.
How much money did you earn, let's say, in 2015?
Approximately $32,000.
And did Mr. Hill give you $32,000 in checks?
Approximately, yes.
Did you do any other work in, say, 2015, other than work for Mr. Hill?
I buy and sell various items at auctions and online, and I sell them on eBay and Craigslist. And I've done that for about 10 years.
And I assume, based upon what I'm reading, somebody is going through a divorce. Who is that?
Mr. Hill did.
What about you?
17 years ago.
Do you have children?
My son's 18.
Was Mr. Hill ever contacted by your former wife?
I believe so, yes.
Recently?
According to Mr. Hill, yes.
To find out, I assume, what your wages were, what you were getting paid. Payment of either child support or alimony?
No, Your Honor, she wanted to increase the rate of child support. At the current time, I owe...
At the current time, you owe?
I owe $800.
But she had gone back to court for an increase?
Correct.
When was that?
Mid-May or early June. I don't know exactly.
It is your claim in this proceeding that Mr. Hill owes you for some back wages. You and Mr. Hill did, in fact, part company. In what month?
It was May 2nd. I'm sorry, May 3rd, 2016.
Around the same time your former wife contacted him?
Correct.
And at that time, you were owed some money?
Yes.
My reading of this is that you went in and that you went into his office. He let you go. He owed you some money, and you wanted the keys back.
That's correct. He had keys.
He had keys for all of the houses that he serviced, or the outside of the property that he serviced for your company. And those were approximately 40 keys or 20 keys?
40 or more.
40 or more.
Yeah.
You wanted the keys. He wanted his salary.
Correct.
His income. Can you tell me, you have a pool maintenance company?
Yes, ma'am.
How many employees do you have?
2.
And what's the name of your company?
Neighborhood Pool Service.
Do you pay them a straight check, or do you take withholding?
They're contracted. It's 1099.
And you...
I've never received a 1099 from Mr. Hill in 6 years. So I guess he made...
I got it.
Go ahead.
I got it. You gave him the keys, and he gave you the 2 checks. And when you went to the bank to cash the 2 checks, he had stopped payment on the checks.
Well, we met. It wasn't in his office. We met every Tuesday and Thursday to get supplies. He supplied the material. So I met on the Tuesday morning after I had worked 3/4 of the day. He met me, told me he had talked to my ex-wife. She told him that I had been stealing his customers and his chemicals. He wanted his supplies and his tools, and he unloaded his tools personally out of my truck, put them in his truck. He wanted his keys. I said, I want my check. And he didn't want to do it. We went back and forth for a second on a little street in Beverly Hills. And he finally agreed to give me a check in exchange for the keys. I immediately went to the bank, and within 10 minutes, I was in Studio City And I went to cash the check, and they had called him on the phone, and they had stopped payment on it.
Why would they call him on the phone?
To verify that I was supposed to be having that check in hand. I wanted to cash the check from his branch, so they wanted to verify that he gave me the check.
I see. You didn't want to put it in your bank.
No.
You wanted to make sure it got cashed.
Yeah.
How much was the check for?
That check was for $1,570. $1,570.
And you accepted that in payment of your wages.
Yes. And I had another check that had just deposited to the bank.
That you had posited that he gave you.
The week prior.
And that...
Then I realized 2 days after the other check was no good that he stopped payment on that check in addition, which made my account overdrawn and I was charged fees.
Okay, Mr. Hill, it's on you.
Essentially what happened was I was contacted by his ex-wife. She was looking for
I don't care what she said to you.
Okay.
Actually, I don't care.
She informed me that...
No, listen to me. That's hearsay, and you can't tell me what she said to you.
Okay.
Do you understand? All I want to know is you gave him 2 checks, $1,570 and $900. And you canceled
I gave him the
those...
check for $1,570 because he was holding the keys hostage. At the time of our conversation, I asked him, did you take the Levy account? And he told me, yes, I did. I'm servicing it, and it's just one account. You shouldn't worry about that. I discussed it with him and said, you know, we have an agreement, this signed contract right here, that states you won't solicit or take accounts, and if you do, that you would owe me, because it's common in our industry.
Just a second. Can I see it, please? Well, I don't understand. This says it's dated August 31st, 2010, and he promises not to solicit anybody...
During the course of employment or after
just a second.
dismissal?
No, this August 31st, 2010, and it says that plaintiff, acting as an independent pool person, acknowledge that I'm responsible for my own income taxes. I promise not to solicit any pools that John Hill Neighborhood Pool Service has on service for a period of 5 years. And then it says, I, David Ditzler, acknowledge that if pools are solicited anytime prior to June of 2021.
Well, it was open-ended. That was put on there after his dismissal. That part was open, and then we put that in at the time of dismissal as people leave, because people leave at different times. But he signed it and left it.
You put this in.
The date.
Just a second. This was signed by him in 2010.
Correct.
It's a poorly written contract.
I recognize that now.
You understand that now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I just want you to recognize that.
I do.
And since you drafted the contract, it has to be construed most strenuously against you, because you were the one who drafted it. And what this says is, dated 2010, that he can't service any of your clients for 5 years. It doesn't say, in addition thereto, we will place the date of his dismissal.
I know.
You understand?
I do.
Now you understand.
Yeah,
okay, so you owe him
I see the error there.
Right. There was an error there.
Yeah.
Great. You owe him 20. You gave him. Listen to me. That's the amount of the 2 checks that he
But
paid
there was
you.
2 days that was supposed to be paid on the 1st, May 1st. I worked May 2nd and May 3rd. We met on May 3rd.
Listen to me, sir. The fact that Mr. Hill got snookered by not having a well-crafted non-compete doesn't mean that you did what you knew you were supposed not to do by taking his client. I wouldn't push it if I were you. Do you understand?
I understand, but I didn't take
Great.
clients.
Well, you did. He asked you if you were servicing Levy account, and you said yes, but it's just one account.
I've never said that.
Are you servicing that account? Very easy to find out.
No, I'm not.
Did you ever?
No, with Mr. Hill, yes. When I was contracted with Mr. Hill under his pay.
You never received any pay independently of his from this person? Because it's very easy to figure out, I guess. I just pick up the phone. You work here, right?
No, for maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks is too much. Now you understand?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How can you prove to me that it was yours?
I guess I can't physically say you didn't throw it in the pool, you took it home and sold it, but it's online, and, you know, it looks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's going to be a duck.
You absolutely made a $5,000 profit. Those are the numbers. You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything?
It's just, I never got any of that
Just a
information.
second. You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything to me?
Okay.
I mean, are you stupid?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Pool technician David Ditzler says former employer John Hill owes for wages. John is countersuing for stolen property and stolen pool accounts.
Now, what kind of property can you prove that the plaintiff stole from you?
Chlorine tablets, trichlor, buckets that are being sold online.
But how can you prove to me that it was yours?
Well, when you sell a bucket of trichlor for $90 at wholesales for $115, and he's taking it and using it, I guess I can't physically say you didn't throw it in the pool, you took it home and sold it, but it's online, and, you know, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's going to be a duck.
You're absolutely right.
There's diverter valves.
Right.
There was a cleaner that was removed from one of my clients' homes worth $400.
Well, I don't know that, and you don't know that, because you don't have anybody here, but I'm actually interested in the container that you just told me about. You have proof that he sold a container of something.
Multiple containers on several occasions.
I'd like to see it.
Is there printouts of that?
Yeah. Wholesales, and then you're going to show me what it wholesales for. Chlorine tabs, 50-pound bucket, $90. Okay, and you sold that online. This is from your online business.
Many others.
Just a second. Can you tell me where you got this from?
In 2000, I believe it was 14, there was a pool man in Burbank that I knew, and he had a heart attack. He came ill, and I bought everything he had. He had drill presses, air compressors, pool equipment, and all of his chemicals he had left. And I bought it at that time. In fact, I even told Mr. Hill he had pool fences. He had all kinds of various items.
You know, Mr. Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe a duck, but I'm not so sure that you can reach your threshold of evidence unless you have something else to show me.
The only thing I could show you is the true cost of that stuff. I don't have any solid proof of where Mr. Ditchler received his stuff from, but...
I don't necessarily disagree with you, sir, but if what he's saying is that he bought the whole lot of this guy's stuff in 2014, and he was selling it off piecemeal, that doesn't mean that I necessarily believe him. However, it's a question of proof that at this point I don't think that you can support. Now, if you had somebody who allegedly told you that he was taking property of yours, that person may have known something, so...
I mean, I couldn't...
You couldn't, but you could have had a witness here.
I tried like heck to get her to come.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $24.70. We're finished. Thank you.
Why did you excuse me? Step out.
Sometimes things just don't work out quite the way they're supposed to.
I think she was fair.
He's dishonest.
I didn't steal any of his customers.
Clients told me what he was doing. He was soliciting them.
Why would his customers fire him and want to hire me?
Lesson learned.
Just don't work for a con.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of McDonald versus Musgrove. Step forward.
Janessa McDonald is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jesse Musgrove, for truck payments, insurance fees, and repairs.
I'm going to start with you, Mr. Musgrove. The plaintiff was your girlfriend for a period of time.
Correct.
And at some point in the relationship, you had a car, truck. Was it an SUV?
It was a truck.
When was it purchased?
We purchased it in October of 2014.
And you primarily used it?
Correct.
And Miss McDonald co-signed for it?
She did.
And that was in 2014?
Yes.
At some point, did she refinance both her car and your truck?
She did. That was after we had broken up, and I was not aware of her doing it. She just went and did it on her own.
In what year did you refinance the car and the truck?
Your Honor, we purchased the car together September 25th. Refinanced. We were still together at the time. We were making plans, so.
What month and year was it refinanced?
It was refinanced June 2nd of 2015.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you. You made the payments on the truck.
I did. All of the payments.
At some point you broke up. Do you remember when that was?
It was around June 2015.
So at about the time she refinanced the truck?
Yeah.
And you took the truck with you?
I did. And I continued to make the payments.
Just a second, and you continued to make the payments on it? Until when?
I made payments until January 2016, when she asked for the truck back.
And was there still a loan on the truck at that time?
There was still amount due, and I was still making the payments.
Now, you took back the truck in January?
That's not correct.
In what month did you take it?
At the end of February. February 28th.
Just a minute.
It was January.
Just a second. And at some point you sold the truck?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if you co-signed on the truck was in both of your names?
Yes.
So you signed off on the bill of sale?
For the original, that was in both of our names, but not for her to refinance the truck or sell the truck.
When you refinanced the truck, did you refinance the truck and it was in solely your name?
Yes, I asked him.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would be a yes?
Yes.
So you refinanced the truck and the truck is now solely your property?
Yes, Your Honor. May I say something? We were still in a relationship.
Okay, it's very close.
It is very
It's
close.
very close.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You refinanced the truck and broke up in the same month. That's very coincidental. It's your truck. If you sold it at a loss, that's it. The courts can't help you.
Even if I have text messages saying that he
Absolutely. You can have a constitution.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janessa McDonald says ex-boyfriend Jesse Musgrove owes for a truck they purchased as a couple.
Now, you sold the truck.
Yes.
And you sold the truck, according to you, for $10,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And the outstanding loan on the truck was about $2,600. Was about $2,600. And you say that the truck needed repairs even before it could be sold.
Yes, Your Honor.
Another $2,500. So that's $5,100.
It was a little less than $2,500, Your Honor, but close.
Great. So say $5,000.
Yes.
And you sold the truck for $10,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you shh. So you made a profit of $5,000. There was $2,500 left on the loan and $2,500 for repairs, $5,000. Those are rough numbers. And you sold it for $10,000. Then you made $5,000.
The loan was for $25 and change, so I paid that $2,500 there.
Just a second. You said you sold it for $10,000. You paid $25,000 to pay off the loan, and I'm doing rough numbers for you, and $25,000 to fix it. That leaves you a $5,000 profit on your truck.
I had no profit.
Well, you certainly don't have a lawsuit against the defendant for a whole host of reasons. One, you refinanced the truck and took it out of his name. It becomes your sole property. You could do whatever you want with your sole property. You want him to pay for the repairs, for car payments that you made, for insurance that you made. All I see is that you made a $5,000 profit. Those are the numbers. You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything?
It's just, I never got any of that
Just a
information.
second. You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything to me?
I just wanted to point out. Okay.
I mean, are you stupid?
All right. I'm not stupid.
I just said to her, she made a profit. You have no case against him for two reasons. One, because you made a profit, and two, because you refinanced the truck in your name. So it was your property. So why would you want to say anything?
I don't.
Great.
No longer.
Your Honor, I did not make a profit. I'm failing to see where you see loan.
No, the loan was, according to you, was $2,500.
No, ma'am. The payoff was $12,543.
Oh. Okay, well, that's not what it says in your complaint.
That was what the truck was upside down, because I sold it for $10,000, but the payoff was $12,543.
You sold your truck.
The truck that we purchased together.
I don't care.
And that he was driving the whole entire time.
It matters not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you refinanced the truck and you took it out of his name and put it in your name. You did that all on your own. I assume you gave him no input into any of the repairs that you did on the truck because it was solely your truck.
Your Honor, when I finally was in touch with the defendant in February, he told me that he was not working, he was living out of the truck, and the truck was non-operable. He had drove it to the point where it cannot be driven. So in order to sell it, I had to make the repairs.
Your truck.
And I have text messages from him.
Just a second. Your truck. You're not a married couple. There's no equitable distribution. There's no community property. You took the truck for it when you refinanced it. If you let him use the truck for 3 months or 2 months or 5 months, that's your right. But according to both of you, you refinanced the truck and broke up in the same month. That's very coincidental. It's your problem. It's your truck. If you sold it at a loss, that's it. The courts can't help you. It's your property.
Even if I have text messages saying that he
Absolutely. You can have a constitution. Goodbye. This case is over.
Why did you excuse me? Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He didn't follow through, so of course I'm disappointed.
When she talks about payments, I was making the only payments, so.
He was living in the truck. He was out without residence.
I was not living out of the truck. I think it's just a little character slander.
It's unfortunate. I want the best for him.
I wish her the best, and happy